One more time. Third time tonight. Let's try this. We're live. It's Wednesday night. I'm pretty much going to have to start the whole show over and take it from the top. So let's do this right now. And the most important thing I can do is go to my chat and make sure that's working. Part 3. I haven't had to put that up in a long time. Hey, we got both chats going. Okay. So let's try it. We got 2 of 2, Tanner. We've got 2 of 2. Uh-oh, is it not? It's, okay, somebody's commenting on the old feeds. Okay, so let's try it. Third time's a charm. Yeah, that's what they say. That's what they say. So let me get all this shared in the proper. It's like we're starting the whole show just an hour and 16 minutes late, but we've already sold a bunch of records. But we're just going to restart and try to figure out where we're at on some of these bids, some of these auctions. And this is the third time we've started the stream tonight. So I've got to get really focused, which means a couple things. I'm going to get everything shared. I'm going to start showing records, and I can't answer any questions. And we'll start selling some vinyl. So make sure you don't. Make sure you're on the right feed, which I think I've deleted. I think I've deleted the other ones. So the only thing active should be part 3. Okay. So I hope everybody's back. Let's. Says, quick, sell me something before McMaster rejoins, and the next comment is literally Jeff McMaster. It's the chicken. Tanner showed me the Family Guy chicken thing. It's where Jeff and Mark randomly meet up and fight each other on the Facebook chat, and then they don't see each other for about a week, and then they show up again and fight each other again. Pretty funny skit if you've never seen that. Let's finally get this shared everywhere. Let me go over here in the group and delete where I shared it before. Let's see here. Lots of. There we go. Let me delete that one. Okay. I would just like to delete that, please. Okay. Now. It is deleted. Okay, good. So I guess the only other place is YouTube. Let me change that on Instagram right quick. Let me delete that off Instagram. Our story. Did I even post? I didn't even post a story. Well, good. I'll try it now. Strike 3. I know it. All right. We just got to get everybody on. So I really need everybody to like the post, okay? I really need everybody to like the post. And I may tag everybody in the group again. I'm going to try that. Let me go over here to Instagram. Story. Go. Link. Now. This should be. Everyone like it and then it bring it down again. Yeah, I know it completely crash it. All right, so we still got 2 of 2. We got 96 people on. Fantastic. So now, Paul Brothers, do you remember who you were bidding against? I remember you. Who else was bidding on this, and where were we at? And then Joan Jett opened us with Jeff McMaster at $20. I said that completely backwards. Jeff McMaster opened this at $20. And Larry Smith wants the Jackie Wilson. Yes. I'll pull that in just a second. So, Jeff, there's his $20 bump comment for the 5th time tonight. Thank you. Jeffrey McCall. Jeffrey, sorry I forgot your name. He was at 60 on the Beatles. So there is our 2 auctions. That's where we was at. Here. And copy link. Where's those posts I made saying we were going to try again? Let's see. I may just delete those posts actually. Actually, put it in here. Let's see. Let me not, yeah, I may just delete those posts saying we're down. That works out best sometimes because people see those and think, oh, well, they're not live. They keep scrolling. If I just take those down, then maybe everybody will come look for us. Let me just take those down. Making a Facebook post is weird because, like, you're like, oh, I got to make a post. It's just like when we have to close the store. Everybody's like, will you please make a post? And I'm like, well, I could make a post that we're going to be closed, but not everybody's going to see it, and you probably won't see it either. Facebook posts are pretty weird. You don't really, most people don't really ever see them. You have to literally pay money for everybody that you want to see them. So it's actually unfortunate, but that's the way Facebook is. They're not going to give you any kind of free exposure. You got to pay for it. So a lot of people have Facebook pages, don't even really know that. But yeah, I mean, for anybody to really see your post, you're going to have to pay something for it. Okay, let's go ahead and Paul was at 55 on Hey Jude. Jeffrey McCall's at 60. Paul, let me know if you want back in. So this is the Beatles' Hey Jude. It's a Russian bootleg from 1993. It's Hey Jude. Yes, very much so a different cover. There's the back that you probably recognize, and that is the Beatles' Hey Jude. It's a Russian pressing from 1993, a bootleg. The high bid on that is $60 of Jeffrey McCall. Jason Kane has bid $25 on Joan Jett. Joan Jett's at $25. It's about a VG cover, maybe VG Plus. Just shows ring wear, a minor shelf wear. It has the original plastic inner sleeve from the label it was on, and the vinyl's EX Plus Near Mint Minus, and that's $25 with Jason Kane. Now, we were right in the middle. Of this blue crate, which everything in here was discounted for $14.99. I worked on this crate. I got 2 more to show you, and then I have like 5 $6.99 crates. So I better get started if I can speak correctly, because we're an hour and a half behind now. The first claim is Jackie Wilson's story, and this was for Larry Smith, $14.99. So let's go ahead and finish this crate up. Everything in here is $14.99. First, the Yes album, $14.99. It's a gatefold USOG. The Yes album, that's an 1841 Broadway, Presswell Press, 4 digits, and it has the original Atlantic inner sleeve. That is only $14.99. We are back for real, yes. I need to update that on YouTube. I made a post on YouTube as well. Let me, I don't know how to get to my post like that. Let's see, videos, live, shorts, community. There it is, community. Let me delete that. Okay. All right, Leslie Sylvie wants Yes. That's also $14.99. We have Bob Dylan's Greatest Hits Volume 2. That is in VG Plus condition. Bob Dylan's Greatest Hits Volume 2, $14.99. Bob Dylan's Greatest Hits Volume 2, VG Plus condition. That is a 2 LP, $14.99. So if you're just joining us, this is the 3rd try of the night for the stream, but I think it's working good. I'm going to try to sell as much as I can in this time that we have before it crashes again. Paul Brothers, let me know if he's out on Hey Jude. So Jeffrey McCall has the Russian bootleg Hey Jude for $60. That's a final call. And Jason Kane was at $25 on Joan Jett. Jeff McMaster bid $26. Jason Kane, you are outbid. If you haven't already, please make sure you like the feed and share it, because I have tried for the 3rd time tonight, so I really need some help sharing and getting the word out that this is the correct stream. We have Heart Magazine, a near mint copy in shrink wrap with the original inner sleeve. Heart Magazine, $14.99. I think that was the record I was showing when everything went crazy. Country Bear Jamboree, Walt Disney World's original soundtrack to Country Bear Jamboree. Actually, there may have been some people claim these, and I didn't see it. So if you maybe claimed those on the last feed, let me know. Michelle, I was about to say, I think Michelle may have got Country Bear Jamboree. She commented again. Fantastic. Jack Hewitt, you were second. Heart is still available. Bob Dylan, Real Live. I showed this one too. I remember showing this one. Bob Dylan, Real Live, $14.99. This is, and a lot of these, I want y'all to look. I mean, I've made a lot of these $14.99. I think they're extremely fair prices for most anything in here, and their discounts is kind of where I've got them priced to sell, and hopefully we can move a lot of these out of here tonight, because I have got so much vintage stuff. We have thousands of vintage LPs that I'm trying to sell and get the new homes before the end of the year, so I'm trying my best. The best, speaking of the best, this is the best of Warren Zevon. $14.99. It's in the original Electra inner sleeve, near mint. $14.99 for the best of Warren Zevon. All right, let's go ahead and sell. Let's go ahead and sell Hey Jude. Hey Jude is $60, and that is to Jeffrey McCall. Jeffrey McCall on that one. Also, Joan Jett. Where were we? Who was the other? Kane? Jason Kane? Jason Kane, let me know if you want backing on Joan Jett. Jeff has that for $26, and I'm about to sell it. Just waiting for Jason Kane. Country Bear, Bob Dylan. We have Jane Fink on Warren Zevon. We got Corey Gass in second, Julian third, Mark Fallon fourth, Fred Carnell fifth. Also, Charles Musselwhite, Memphis, Tennessee. Charlie Musselwhite, extremely nice. OG copy, just $14.99 on that. Hendry Smeek wants Heart Magazine. That's sold to Hendry. And Uriah Heep Live, $14.99. This is a 2LP live Uriah Heep, $14.99. Uriah Heep Live. Jason Kane's out. That's sold to Jeff McMaster for $26. So Jeff gets that for $26. We have the Hey Jude was sold for $60. Now it's time for two new auctions. Let's go ahead and grab one of the Beatles records. I've got Help, and let me grab something out of this other vintage bin I've been pulling stuff out of I had set aside for tonight. And we have a copy of, let's do this Led Zeppelin album, Coda. Wow, Seth's here. I didn't even see you come in, Seth. Wow. Seth's here. That's a shocker. 1973. This was manufactured for export. This was manufactured in France to be exported to the United States. It's called Help. This is the Beatles, Help. This is a French import, 1973. It sounds great, it looks great, and it plays great. Songs from the film, Help, one of my favorite Beatles albums. Help, I love the music on the Help album. $35 start, of course, Help. The Night Before, You've Got to Hide Your Love Away, I Need You, a George Harrison original. Another Girl, You're Gonna Lose That Girl, Ticket to Ride, It's Only Love, You Like That Too Much, another George Harrison original. Tell Me What You See, I've Just Seen a Face. That's a classic. That is so good. $35 for the Beatles' Help. That is now up for bid. Dennis Jackson wants the Charles Musselwhite. That is sold to Dennis Jackson. Julian, you were second. Leslie's going to get the Uriah Heep and Tanner. These are all $14.99. Christopher's at $35 on Help. And our next auction is going to be Led Zeppelin Coda in extremely nice condition. I always loved the gatefold for Coda because up until this point, there wasn't a lot of pictures of Led Zeppelin. There's some kind of snippets of Led Zeppelin, but if you were a fan, this is like one of the first Led Zeppelin albums where you actually got to see a lot of pictures of the band, and it was their last album after they broke up. This is unreleased tracks. We sell a lot of bootlegs and stuff, unreleased tracks. Well, this is an official release from Led Zeppelin, and it's called Coda. And this was unreleased tracks that they had recorded that they never did use on their studio albums. This is going to be a $25 start. It's a near mint copy. $25 start for Led Zeppelin Coda. The Beatles is at $35, $35, and $40. $35, $35, and $40. And the Led Zeppelin Coda is a $25 start. In Due Time, Aesop's Fables from 1969. This is now just $14.99. In Due Time, Aesop's Fables on Cadet, EX Plus near mint minus. Led Zeppelin's at $25, $25, $25, and now $30. Todd Rundgren, Back to the Bars, $14.99 for Todd Rundgren, Back to the Bars, $14.99. 2LP, near mint, Todd Rundgren, Back to the Bars, $14.99. Very, very nice copy. The Byrds, Younger Than Yesterday. This is now just $14.99. It's a 1967 mono Pittman press. Mono Pittman press for the Byrds. It's in the original baggie. It's on the 2i label. It is extremely nice. It's in mono. It's on the 2i label. It's the Byrds, Younger Than Yesterday, and that is $14.99. Okay, Led Zeppelin was at $35, and Debbie Blair on Byrds. That is sold to Debbie Blair. So let me make sure I didn't miss anything with the Beatles. Christopher Morris, you're out on the Beatles. Kevin Dokesy has that for $40. Led Zeppelin was at $30, and now $35, and now $37. Debbie Blair got the Byrds, $14.99. The Fabulous Johnny Cash, $14.99. The Fabulous Johnny Cash, and this is on the original Columbia 2i, The Fabulous Johnny Cash. and that is No Condition Notes, 1967. That's not the original label, but that's an early label. The Fabulous. I want to put an H in there. The Fabulous. That is $14.99. Journey, this is $14.99. Journey Departure, $14.99 for Journey Departure. Journey Departure. I'm trying to talk so fast I can't even spit out words correctly. The Edgar Winter Group, they only come out at 9. This is a super clean copy. I remember looking at this one last night. Orange label, extremely nice, $14.99. All right, so G.C. Colleton is at 37 on the Led Zeppelin Coda. He's at 37 on that. That's going twice, going 3 times. And the Beatles' Help is with Kevin Dokesy at $40. That's going twice, going 3 times. Debbie Blair wants the Edgar Winter, and Mark Koffernos wants the Journey. Mark, are you a first-time buyer? Mark K. Koffernos, maybe. If you're a first-time buyer, let me know, because I don't think I've ever said your name before. The Rolling Stones Dirty Work, $14.99. The Rolling Stones Dirty Work, $14.99. He says he's bought from us before. Okay, I just don't recall seeing your name. I bid $45 on Help. That didn't show up on my screen. If you don't hear me saying your bid, just go ahead and send it again. The Beatles' Help. This is now at $45 of Christopher Morris. Kevin Dokesy, you're out. But Christopher, I don't think that did come through. So if you don't see it pop up on the Restream chat, which is here on the screen, if you ever bid and you don't see it pop up here later, then I probably don't see it. And Kevin Dokesy's at 50 on the Beatles. So yeah, that didn't come through. And then Led Zeppelin's a final call. GC's at $37. If I've missed somebody else bid on this, this is an extremely nice copy of Led Zeppelin Coda. Gatefold, it has the original inner sleeve. It's near mint. And the high bid on that is GC at $37. Kevin's back in on the Beatles at $50. The Stones is $14.99. We have Lionel Richie, Can't Slow Down. Lionel is sealed. He has never been opened. Hello. Is it me you're looking for? $14.99. That is sealed. It's never been opened. Has the original Target price tag. Rod Stewart and Faces Live. Just $14.99 for Rod Stewart and Faces Live. Original red Mercury label. $14.99. Christopher Morris is at 55 on the Beatles. We have Dennis Jackson on RS. That's for the Rolling Stones, $14.99. Jeff McMaster on the sealed Lionel Richie for $14.99. Mark K's at 40 on Zeppelin. GC was second on Lionel. Michelle was third, and Christopher Morris was fourth. The Firm, in shrink wrap with a hype sticker. It does have a saw mark. It is a cutout, but it's in shrink wrap. It has the hype sticker. It also has the original inner sleeve, $14.99 for The Firm. And that's Jimmy Page and Paul Rogers. Cyndi Lauper, She's So Unusual, just $14.99. A U.S. original. Girls Just Want to Have Fun. Time After Time. I like that song better. I'd rather listen to Time After Time than Girls Want to Have Fun. No disrespect to either one, but that would be my pick. If I was stuck on an island and I had to listen to one of those two over and over and over, I'd probably pick Time After Time. The Smithereens, Especially For You. Now just $14.99. The Smithereens, Especially For You, $14.99. $14.99. UFO, The Wild, the Willing, and the Innocent. The UFO is $14.99. The Wild, the Willing, and the Innocent. UFO, $14.99. All right, we got new bids on both auctions, it looks like. Christopher Morris was at 55 on Help. Mark K was at 40 on Led Zeppelin. GC bid 41 on Led Zeppelin. Mike Post was first on The Firm. Tanner, that was $14.99. Everything in here is $14.99. Mike Post got The Firm. Michelle Miller got CL for Cyndi Lauper. That goes to Michelle. Jeff second. Hendry third. We have Michael Potts first on the Smithereens. Craig Ruth was second. Clay Moore was third. And Fred Carnell was first on UFO. Kevin Dokesy's back in on the Beatles. This is an extremely nice 1973 French import pressing of Help. It's near mint. Sounds fantastic. Help. I read off that track listing. I've probably listened to that Beatles album more than any others. And an update on Led Zeppelin. Mark K, if you want back in, let me know. GC has Coda for 41. Now Debbie's at 42. We have Dexter Gordon Quartet live in Chateau Vallon, 1978. That's a 2020 record store day, $14.99. $14.99 for Dexter Gordon Quartet. That's a 2020 record store day, now $14.99. That's $10 off. Also, Bob Dylan, John Wesley Harding. This is Bob Dylan, John Wesley Harding, now just $14.99. Bob Dylan, that is on the second label for that Columbia release. No condition notes on the vinyl, $14.99 for Dylan. Sonny Rollins, the Blue Note reissue series. This is more from Vanguard. Sonny Rollins is $14.99. Pretty much a half-off record there for Sonny Rollins. And Traffic, On the Road. I actually found two of these. Traffic is a 2 LP live album. 2 LP live album from Traffic. Either one you want. They're pretty much identical. $14.99 for Traffic, back-to-back. 2 LP live on Traffic. Yes, 90125, also $14.99. Has the original inner sleeve. Owner of a Lonely Heart. That one's very recognizable. Also like the song Changes is on there. $14.99 for Yes, 90125. Okay, so update. The Beatles is at 58. Led Zeppelin was at 42. We have Christopher Morris back in on the Beatles at 60. GC back in on Led Zeppelin at 43. Colin Butler first to the Sonny Rollins for $14.99. David Hoy, you were second. Michael Nath first on Bob Dylan. Julian first on SR, or that was third on SR for Sonny Rollins. Davies back in on Led Zeppelin for 45. Colin Butler gets a Traffic. Colin Butler gets a Traffic. Tom Byrne first on Yes. Leslie was next on Yes. Mark K was third on Yes. And Chris Bijak, you were fifth on Sonny Rollins. And actually, Colin Butler says he's going to pass on Traffic. So I'll put that. Tanner said just leave that in there. Okay, so Led Zeppelin's at 45, and the Beatles is at 60 with Christopher Morris. $14.99 for Genesis, Wind and Weathering. This is $14.99. It's an original UK pressing. An original UK pressing with the original inner sleeve. $14.99. We also have Neil Young, American Stars and Bars for Neil Young. Super clean vinyl in here. I don't think there's been any check condition records hardly. Has the original inner sleeve, very clean vinyl, $14.99 for Neil. Also, Yes, going for the one. This has one of my favorites on it, Wondrous Stories. Yes, going for the one, $14.99. Colin Butler is going to take the Genesis, Wind and Weathering UK copy. That's sold to Colin Butler. Final call on these two auctions. We have Christopher Morris at 60 on the Beatles. That's Help, 1973 French pressing for import. And Led Zeppelin Coda is a final call. Davey Blair has that for 45. Davey Blair has that for 45. The Genesis was called Wind and Weathering. It has already sold. Leslie Silvley is going to get the Yes Wondrous Stories, also known as Going for the One. Fred Carnell wants the Dexter Gordon. That is sold to Fred Carnell. Bob Riger wants FM, and FM was for, what was for FM? We have Neil Young. That's what you may have meant, but also have Traffic, Rod Stewart and Faces, Johnny Cash, Todd Rundgren, Aesop Fables, and another Bob Dylan. That's still what's left in there. Also, the Monkees, Then and Now, the best of the Monkees. It's a gatefold, single LP, $14.99. Then and Now, the best of the Monkees, $14.99. And the Cars, Panorama, $14.99 for the Cars. Original inner sleeve, $14.99 for the Cars. Michelle Miller on the Monkees. Kevin Doxey's back in on the Beatles. GC's out on Led Zeppelin. So Led Zeppelin is a final call to Davey Blair for $45. Coda. Michelle got the Monkees. GC's out on Coda, Led Zeppelin. Charlie DeFrank, Faces. This is Rod Stewart and Faces Live, Coast to Coast. Gatefold single LP. Original Red Mercury label. No condition notes. $14.99. Henry's Choice on Rod. That might have been for the Rod Stewart. Charlie DeFrank just asked about it. That's Charlie if he wants it. If not, it's sold to Henry's Choice. I'll lay it right there. Craig second on the Monkees. Colin first on the Cars. Tom Burns second on the Cars. Julian third on the Cars. Charlie DeFrank is going to take the Rod Stewart. That's sold to Charlie DeFrank. Christopher's officially out on Help. That's at $65 with Kevin Doxey. That means I'm about to sell those two auctions and put up two new ones. We have 38 Special, Wild Eyed Southern Boys. That's in shrink wrap, $14.99. Very clean vinyl, extremely nice. About a VG Plus cover, if it's in shrink wrap. It's got a little bit of cover wear right up there, but it does have the original inner sleeve, and that is $14.99. Soft Machine. Soft Machine is a 1978 UK pressing. Soft Machine, and that one is called Alive and Well, recorded in Paris. That's just $14.99. Tracy McFadden on 38 Special. Christopher Morris, you were second. Let's sell these auctions. Davey Blair is going to get the Led Zeppelin for $45, Tanner. That's sold to Davey Blair. And we have the Beatles Help, and that is sold to Kevin Doxey for $65. All right. 38 Special, Tracy. Christopher Morris second. Soft Machine sold for Thomas. Thanks, everybody, for tuning back in. I just looked down and saw where we had 192 people watching, which is amazing. Since this is the third stream of the night, we've had major connection, but I know the faithful Colectco customers, which are y'all, would definitely come back if we have problems with our connection. So thank you for doing that. I told Tanner while we were off there, I was like, it kind of freaks me out because it's like, man, what if we can never get this thing to work and we never can have a live Facebook sale again? Which is just like the worst case scenario ever. However, I'm just like, man, it's got to be frustrating, but I'm glad we're back and running right now. Knock on vinyl. Knock on this cover. So let's do one of the more really cool Beatles albums of the we have tonight. I think they're all really cool. This is the Beatles with Tony Sheridan, and this is actually one of the originals. This is a 1964 U.S. U.S. stereo copy. Let me correct that. 64 U.S. stereo copy. This is the Beatles of Tony Sheridan, and this is going to be a $35 start. VG Plus to EX. This is kind of a borderline. VG Plus EX. This is the Beatles with Tony Sheridan, and that is a $35 start. This is usually on a checklist for a lot of people's Beatles collections. The Beatles with Tony Sheridan and Guess featuring My Bonnie. There's also a major misconception about a lot of these albums that they're extremely, extremely valuable. I will say this, they're not easy to find. I mean, we don't get them too often at all, but I do have some people's collections I've bought before, and they'll think that this is like a $1,000 album. It's not too easy to get. A lot of people want it, but it's not. It's just like the White Album. I have a lot of people they'll have a copy of the White Album, and they think it's like worth $5,000, and I'm like, no, they only made like 20 million of them. But this actually isn't too easy to get. I mean, we don't have them, as y'all know. I mean, this is the first one I've had in months and months, probably all year. I haven't had one maybe all year, so they're kind of scarce. But that is the Beatles with Tony Sheridan. $35 starting bid. It looks like it's already got several. This is really nice. I found this in the bin in the back, and I was like, man, I can't believe this didn't sell. How about a shrink-wrapped Harvest? Shrink-wrapped Neil Young Harvest, $25 start. It's in the original textured inner sleeve. The vinyl is very nice, EX Plus, near mint minus, and this has this is in shrink wrap. Neil Young Harvest has the original price tag on the back. It's a gatefold, and it has the original lyric insert. $25 start for the classic Neil Young Harvest in shrink wrap, near mint, and the original inner sleeve and insert with it as well. $25 start for Neil Young Harvest. There he is. $25 start. One of the goats. Harvest, $25 start. Okay, so we pulled, we're not done with this $14.99 crate yet. The Beatles is at 35, 35, 40, 40, 40, 45, 50. Neil Young's at 25, and the Beatles is at 55. The Eurythmics, $14.99 for the Eurythmics, and this is for the Love of Big Brother, $14.99. So everything in this crate is $14.99. The Fix, Reach the Beach. The Fix is $14.99. One Thing Leads to Another is on here. Saved by Zero, just $14.99 on The Fix, Reach the Beach. The Human League, Fascination, and that is the full album. Keep Feeling Fascination, $14.99. That's in shrink wrap, a classic from the 80s, and NRBQ, Kick Me Hard. NRBQ is now just $14.99. $14.99. So the Beatles is at 50, 55. Neil Young, 25, 30, and 30. Tom Byrne wants The Fix. That's sold to Tom Byrne. And Thomas Hujar gets the Human League. Mark Fallon was second. And Colin Butler wants NEB. I bet he meant NRBQ. He did. So those three are all sold. Tom Byrne got The Fix. Thomas Hujar got Human League. Colin Butler got NRBQ. Waylon, The Wolf. Will the Wolf Survive? Waylon Jennings, this is $14.99. Will the Wolf Survive? $14.99 for Waylon. And the Rolling Stones, Still Life. American Concert, 1981. Now just $14.99 for the Rolling Stones, Still Life, 1981. Also Kansas, their first album, self-titled, $14.99 for Kansas. $14.99 for Kansas. And the last one in here is Birdie, which is a soundtrack, music by Peter Gabriel. The Birdie soundtrack, near mint minus copy, extremely nice. $14.99. $14.99. Okay, we have Darcy on the Waylon Jennings. Darcy K on the Waylon Jennings. We had Julian second, Shane Devers third. Hendry got RS for Rolling Stones. Homeland Conspiracy on Kansas. And John Miller next on Rolling Stones. Heather Feather first on Peter Gabriel. Mark Fallon second. James Rayner third. I work for IT Consulting, Improved Connection. We may need to talk to you, Joe, because we've been having some issues this week. I think it comes down, though, to Facebook. And what I was watching some YouTube videos, actually, while we were down. And what happens is sometimes we lose our chat. See right here, I click on this. It says connected and connected. That's the chat. That's the chat where I can see everybody's comments on this one thing. Every once in a while, we'll get kicked off and we can't see Facebook comments. We're still streaming. We're still live on Facebook, but I can't see comments. Now, every once in a while, we will literally drop service and everybody will lose the feed. You know, nobody can see it at all. But a lot of times it's the chat where I can't see everybody's comments. It drops it. Okay, Garrett, we will put that back for you. Garrett needs to put back The Shining by Bob Radcliffe. We can put that back. Update on our auction. So we have a very cool Beatles record here. The Beatles with Tony Sheridan. I would be keeping this if I didn't already have a copy, but I definitely, it took me a while for me to find one in nice condition. I consider this one nice at VG Plus/EX. 1964 stereo US copy MGM. That's at $60. It took me a while to track one of those down. Update on Neil Young. Jeffrey McCall's at $35. That's a shrink-wrapped OG Neil Young Harvest. It's a gatefold in shrink wrap, which is usually more uncommon to find a gatefold in shrink wrap because somebody never did open the shrink wrap. They never did even see what was in the gatefold, which is unusual, I would think, for an album in the 70s. Surely somebody would have wanted to open that up and seen what was in the gatefold, right? Unless that was their second copy, or unless they've already seen somebody else's copy and they just wanted to leave it in shrink wrap. But usually it's a lesser chance to find a gatefold in shrink wrap, just like Moody Blues records. You know, I've always been looking for those, the gatefolds, originals, and shrink wrap. They're not too easy to get. Even if you search it on eBay, Moody Blues shrink, there's not many listed. If so, they're like $40 and $50. It's pretty crazy. The Beatles is at $60. Craig Ruth wants the Eurythmics. That's sold to Craig Ruth for $14.99. And we have what's left in this $14.99 crate. We're not far from selling everything in here. Let's try it one more time. Then we've got $9.99 records, and I think those are going to go even faster. Bob Dylan's Greatest Hits Volume 2, one of the few check condition records in here. VG Plus condition. That's 2 LPs of Dylan's Greatest Hits for $14.99. VG Plus condition, about a VG cover. In Due Time, Aesop's Fables. That's from 1969 on Cadet. That's only $14.99. A little bit more obscure record there. Todd Rundgren, Back to the Bars. This has Hello, It's Me on it. The version we all know. It's on this album. 2 LPs, Near Mint Minus with the original on their sleeves. $14.99. Final call on Neil Young. $35. Tom Dearlove, let me know if you're back in. Jeffrey McCall has that for $35, and they're still bidding on the Beatles. Gerard Cacciatore was at $60. Christopher Morris was at $62. Mark Fallon wants Todd Rundgren. That's sold to Mark Fallon. We have the Fabulous Johnny Cash from 1967, $14.99 on cash. Traffic, On the Road. We still got both copies. $14.99. 2 LP live Traffic. Steve Winwood, Dave Mason, and Neil Young, American Stars and Bars. This has the original insert with liner notes and lyrics. Near mint, $14.99. They're still bidding on the Beatles, 62, 63, and 65. So I try my best to be somewhat of a Beatles historian, but literally that's a lifetime dedication to fully understand what's going on with the Beatles, especially the early years. But the Beatles cut some tracks with Tony Sheridan, where they were pretty much a backup band. And that's what's going on here. This is the Beatles with Tony Sheridan, and they were pretty much the backup band for the Beatles. And one of the big hits in the UK was My Bonnie, the Beatles with Tony Sheridan. They were kind of the backup group for Tony. Could you imagine having the Beatles as your backup group? Julian gets to Neil Young for $14.99, and the Beatles is at $67. The Beatles is at $67. Okay, we do have some Japanese pressings. I hadn't got to them yet. Everything in here, Nick, is $14.99. Those are already discounted. Johnny Cash was half off at $14.99. So now let's do a $9.99 crate. Everything in this crate is going to be $9.99. $9.99 for everything in this crate. Gerard is out on Gerard's out on the Beatles. Paul Brothers in on Harvest though at $38. And Nick Bargeron said sold on that. Yeah, everything in that crate was already discounted. There's some stuff in there that was half off or more than half off. That's why there's nothing left except for 2 Traffics and Aesop's Fables and a Dylan's Greatest Hits. That's all that's left. Beatles 65 on deck. I will do that. We did have somebody claim Traffic, but they put it back. So I still got 2 copies of Traffic. I may have to reduce that a few more dollars to get it sold in just a second. So, yeah, these are all discounted. $9. Make sure I grab the right crate. Yeah, $9.99, everything in here. $10 minus a penny, $9.99. Update on our auctions. We got 2 new bidders on Harvest. This is an OG copy from '72. It has the original inner sleeve. It has the insert. It's in shrink wrap. It's super nice. Jeff Rice has that for $37. Paul Brothers is at $38. Also, the Beatles with Tony Sheridan. The newest high bid is Thomas Hujar at $67. Christopher Morris is out and Gerard is out. Thomas, you may have got that with your $67 bump. Final call. The Beatles with Tony Sheridan. The Beatles with Tony Sheridan. That's up there in like the checklist of stuff you got to have in your Beatles collection that's not as easy to get. I'm going to mute my mic for 1 second to take a drink of water. All right. Let's get started with $9.99. We have a lot of ground to cover tonight. First, Charlie Daniels Band, High Lonesome, $9.99. Everything in here is priced to move, $9.99. I like doing nights like this when we don't really have any new arrivals because there's going to be a lot of records sold with these discount vintage bins that I make because I start throwing some bones in here for $9.99. Jay Giles Band, Freeze Frame. It has the song Freeze Frame on it and Centerfold. No condition notes. If you don't hear me say anything about the condition, then it's EX plus near mint minus, and this has the original inner sleeve. Jay Giles, $9.99. Asia, self-titled, $9.99. Heat of the Moment. Soul Survivor, Only Time Will Tell. Original inner sleeve, $9.99 for Asia. Steppenwolf Live, 2 LPs. That is in VG plus condition. Also about a VG plus cover, $9.99 for Steppenwolf. The Other Side of the Moon by Red Holt Unlimited. That's on the original Paula label. Red Holt Unlimited, $9.99. The Other Side of the Moon. Johnny Winter and Johnny Winter Live. That's a 2-in-1. So that's 2 albums in one. EX condition, $9.99. And live and, or is that just a 2 LP? What's going on here? No, I guess that's just a 2 LP, Johnny Winter and live. I think. $9.99. Okay, we're still getting lots of bids on the Neil Young, I think. We were at 37. Jeffrey McCall bid 40. Harvest is at 43. Jack Hewitt got Jay Giles for $9.99. So, Tanner, we have an official new price change. $9.99 starting with Jay Giles. Jack Hewitt got that. Nick Barger on second. Fred Carnell third. Scott Drum is going to get the Asia, not Steely Dan, Asia, the supergroup with Steve Howe and Jeff Downs and Carl Palmer and John Wetton on lead vocals. That was, man, what a lineup. Asia. That is sold to Scott Drum. Javi was second. Colin Butler first on the Holt Unlimited. That's sold to Colin Butler. Henry's Choice wants to Johnny Winter. Jetstream second. Dennis Jackson third. Jeff Rice, you were second on Asia. All right, let's sell the Beatles. Very cool. The Beatles, Tony Sheridan. And that is sold to Thomas Hujar for $67. My Bonnie. The song starts off kind of slow and then it kind of picks up. I got some other really cool Beatles stuff over here. I still got a half of a crate, and somebody requested, could we do Paris 65? I'll do it right now. This is the Beatles, Paris 65. So side A is the afternoon show, and side B is the evening concert. Can you imagine if you was in Paris in 1965, probably for a very little charge, you could have seen the Beatles twice in one day. You could have woke up and seen them that morning, and then you could have seen them play that afternoon, probably for less than what, $3? The Beatles, Paris 65, a $35 start. This is a vintage bootleg on Bird Brain Records. No condition notes. I've cleaned it. Got it in a new MoFi sleeve. It's actually still in shrink wrap with that original Xerox. The Beatles, Paris 1965, an afternoon show and an evening concert from June 20th. If you just happened to be in Paris, was anybody watching? Was you in Paris on June 20th, 1965? If so, you missed out on seeing the Beatles twice that day. $9.99. We still got Charlie Daniels, one that doesn't show up as often, High Lonesome, and we still got Steppenwolf Live, a 2 LP. Blood and Chocolate, that's by Elvis Costello. EX condition, $9.99 for Elvis Costello. And Foreigner 4, EX condition for Foreigner 4, original inner sleeve, Urgent, $9.99. I think my favorite cut on there is Waiting for a Girl Like You, maybe. Jukebox Heroes on there, though, so that's hard to beat. Even though Jukebox Hero is one of those songs that is it an epic classic rock song? Yes, but I've also heard it a lot, like I think a lot of other people. I like the deep cuts. I like putting on albums like this and listen to the ones that you don't know as often. Jetstream gets Foreigner 4. Nice copy with the original inner sleeve. That's sold to Jetstream. Jason Kane was second. Chris Frazier third. And Get the Knack. This is $9.99. My Sharona, $9.99. What is this, a German copy? It's a German copy. We didn't even have that noted on the back. Get the Knack is a German copy, $9.99. Update on Neil Young. We got a lot of bidders still on this one. Paul Brothers was at $43, and that's where we stopped. This is a shrink-wrapped Neil Young Harvest, original inner sleeve, insert, Harvest. Near mint, 72 pressing. Paul Brothers is at 43. The Beatles, Paris 65. We were at 35 with Don. Tom Ulanowski bid 40. Jet Stream got 400. Jason Kane second. Chris Frazier third. Don Alker's back in on the Beatles at 41. Jack Hewitt got the knack. Scott Drum was second. The Beatles is at 45 with Paul Brothers. And we have George Thorogood and the Destroyers. Previously unreleased material recorded in 1974. This is called Better Than the Rest. George Thorogood, $9.99. Everything in here is discounted to $9.99, including the Nice with Keith Emerson. That's only $9.99. The Nice, Keith Emerson. Little Feat, Time Loves a Hero. No condition notes on that one. Looks like there's a little bit of a stain on the back cover, but no condition notes on the vinyl. $9.99. Golden Hour of the Status Quo. So I only know the early Status Quo, which I think this is what this is. I only know Pictures of Matchstick Men. I've listened to that album before, so I'm sure I've heard some of these, but that's a lot of Status Quo tracks for $9.99. Let's see. 10 on this side and 11 on the other. 21 Status Quo tracks, including Pictures of Matchstick Men, which hopefully we all know that one. $9.99. Three Dog Night Harmony, a white label promo for $9.99. A white label promo. $9.99. Okay. The last bid I said on Neil Young was 43 with Paul Brothers. If there's not a bid when I get to the bottom of the screen, I'm going to sell it to Paul Brothers. He also bid 45 on the Beatles. Thomas Hujar bid 46. Jeff McMaster on GT for George Thorogood. That's sold to Jeff McMaster. Julian was second. Tom's out on the Beatles. Bob Riger third on George Thorogood. The Beatles is at 47. Jeff McMaster on Status Quo. That's sold to Jeff McMaster. Colin second. Henry's Choice third. Leslie wants the Steppenwolf, which was earlier in the bin. Steppenwolf Live, right? That's sold to Leslie. Debbie Blair got the white label promo of Three Dog Night. Gerard was second. And Henry's Choice put TS. And TS was for probably something that's already sold. That was probably for, I'm not for sure. And then the Beatles is at 50, and the Beatles is at 48. So I'm going to do what I said. I'm to the bottom of the feed, sell this to Paul Brothers for $43. And they're still bidding on the Beatles live in Paris, 1963, an afternoon show and an evening concert. And here at the bottom it says, the best quality Paris recording ever released. Can't Buy Me Love, A Hard Day's Night. Give me that rock and roll music. I Feel Fine, Ticket to Ride. And they used to close with Long Tall Sally around that era. They used to close the Little Richard's Long Tall Sally. Twist and Shout, Can't Buy Me Love. They did a few more songs in the evening show. Everybody's Trying to Be My Baby. And that's at 51 with Thomas Hujar. Okay, Beatles Christmas. I will do that one after this one. It's hard to have two Beatles records going at the same time. But I will do that in just a second. Let me put up another auction. I've got a whole tub of stuff over here. Let's see what we have. Is this OG Superfly? It is. Curtis Mayfield, Superfly, an OG copy. I found this randomly in the bin in the back, and I was like, no longer. Let's reduce this, put it up for a starting bid. It's the original pressing. It's got this really cool flip-open cover. Superfly, the soundtrack by Curtis Mayfield. Really nice jacket. I've seen these before, really worn out, especially all of this delicate die cut right here. Those are usually pretty worn out. This one's not bad whatsoever, just minor shelf wear. Curtis Mayfield Superfly. And the disc, we've got no condition notes on it. It's nice. This is unusual. This is unusual. This is a $20 start. There is one scuff right here, but we still don't have any condition notes, so that's obviously nothing that's going to affect play. $20 start on Superfly, Curtis Mayfield. $20 start on that. So the Beatles is at 51. The Beatles is a single LP. Single LP on the Beatles. Jeffrey McCall on Little Feat. Jeffrey McCall on Little Feat. All right, and evidently we have a, let's see. Oh, we need to I didn't even notice that. Brooke David. Yeah. Will you marry me? Nobody wants to marry you. Addition and Subtraction. Walt Disney's Addition and Subtraction with Jiminy Cricket and Rika Moore. This is a Disney record. You can learn how to add and subtract. $9.99. You can learn how to add and subtract. $9.99. Van Morrison, Wavelength, $9.99. Van Morrison, Wavelength, $9.99. Original inner sleeve, super nice copy, just $9.99 for Mr. Morrison. Also, Stevie Wonder, Intervisions, VG Plus copy, $9.99. Intervisions, VG Plus, $9.99. Sorry about the spammer. We usually take those people out pretty quick. Where are we at on the Beatles? We were at 51 with Thomas Hujar. Paul's back in at 53. Paul's back in at 53. We pulled Jeffrey McCall's Little Feat. Curtis Mayfield, 20. Mark Fallon, 25. And Fred Carnell wants Van Morrison, and Mark Fallon gets Intervisions. This is an OG pressing of Curtis Mayfield's Superfly. That is now up for bid. Curtis Mayfield Superfly, OG copy. That's at 25. The Beatles is 54 now with Thomas Hujar. Eddie Harris, The Tender Storm, $9.99. If you're just tuning in, we're in a discount bin. Everything in here is $9.99, and I'm handing out some deals, including Eddie Harris's The Tender Storm. It's got a promo stamp on the label. Super clean copy, sold to Colin Butler for $9.99. John Cafferty and the Beaver Brown Band, Tough All Over. That's $9.99. No condition notes for John Cafferty. Tina Turner. This is called Rough, one we don't see as often. There is a clip corner. Tina does have a clip corner, but it is a super nice copy. That one's called Rough. No condition notes, EX plus, Nimrit minus. Tina Turner, one we don't see as often in her discography. Chris B. Jacks at 26 on Curtis Mayfield. Jim Nelson wants John Cafferty, and Darcy is going to get the Tina Turner. That's sold to Darcy. Stevie Wonder, Journey Through the Secret Life of Plants. That's a 2 LP. It does have a notch in it. Super nice copy. Stevie Wonder, The Journey Through the Secret Life of Plants, $9.99. Mark Fallon's at 29 on Superfly. Paul's out on the Beatles. Let's do a final call. The vintage bootleg of the Beatles live in Paris. 2 shows. They did a morning show and an afternoon show, and that is at $54 of Thomas Hujar. It's very nice. Final call on that. We were at, Tom, you were second on Tom Cafferty. Chris Bijak's at 30 on Curtis Mayfield. Blade Singletary wants Stevie Wonder. Jeffrey McCall was second. Patti Smith Group Easter. That is $9.99. Has the original company inner sleeve, which was on Arista. $9.99 for Patti Smith. The Cat, Jimmy Smith, the incredible Jimmy Smith. The Cat, Black Verve label, $9.99 for Jimmy Smith. And The Toys. Now, this album always demands a little bit of money, especially on Discogs, but I've never had too much luck selling it here. I usually have to put them on Discogs. Maybe somebody will take a chance on The Toys. There is a name. It was originally owned by George Polowinsky in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, which is where we bought this record from. Just $9.99. Those usually sell for $25 or $35 in very nice condition. That's in very nice condition. The Pentangle. This is an original 68 Pitman press in shrink wrap. The Pentangle, $9.99. We got a new bid on the Beatles. I was going to sell it. The Beatles, Mark K's at $60 on the Beatles. Thomas Hujar, you're out. I had Paul's there to sell it, and we have a new bid with Mark K. He's at $60. And Superfly was at $32 with Mark Fallon. So we're at $60 and $32 on those 2 auctions. Henry's Choice gets the Jimmy Smith. Henry's Choice gets the Cat. David Hoy was second on Jimmy Smith. Jim Nielsen gets the Toys. Colin Butler second. Johnny Vigil wants the Jimmy Smith. Johnny, you were third. And Thomas is back in on the Beatles at 61. So Mark Fallon is at 32 on Superfly. And that means Chris Bijak or anybody else, let me know if you want back in. Richard Marks, repeat offender. Richard Marks is $9.99. Eric Burden is here. Eric Burden and the Animals. That's $9.99. Commander Cody and the Lost Planet Airmen. Commander Cody is $9.99. And his Lost Planet Airmen. Did I miss a claim for... Did I miss a Patty claim? Patty, let's see. I did. Hold on a second. We pulled Stevie Wonder. Then Mark Fallon put Super Fudge, 32. And then we had a PS and a Patty. Gerard was actually first. Gerard Cacciatore put PS actually right before you, Patty. So Gerard got the Patty Smith. That's sold to Gerard for $9.99. Patty was second to Jane. And then we had Jimmy Smith, Toys. GC wants RM for Richard Marks. That's sold to GC for $9.99. Davey Blair's on EB, which is Eric Burden, and Jetstream on Commander Cody. Mark Fallon, you were second on Richard Marks. Now, Mark K, you're outbid again on the Beatles. Please let me know if you want back in. Thomas Hujar is at 61. Now, I'm going to go ahead and get a third auction started because we've had this Beatles up for a while. I'm going to go ahead and do another Beatles, but if you want to bid on this one, I need one I need one key word when you're bidding on this, okay? This is a true, very cool Beatles original collectible item here. If you're going to bid on this, please put Christmas, okay? Don't put the Beatles. Please put Christmas. And this is an original 1963 UK fan club. And what this was just a newsletter. So technically, it's supposed to be just a newsletter, but they printed it, they folded it, and stapled it, and they actually put a record in it. And they made it their Christmas release in 1963. Wow. For the UK fan club, the official Beatles fan club, 1963. And this plays at a 33 1/3. This plays at a 33 1/3. I test played it. It's one of these flexi discs. It's single-sided. It plays like a VG Plus record. It has a recording of Paul, John, George, and Ringo saying thank you. They were talking about their first #1 hit and how much their lives have changed in the last couple months. And this is right when they took off, of course, 1963. So very nice. This plays like a VG Plus. The sleeve's very nice. A lot of these have writing on them. This has one stray pencil mark here, but there's nobody's name on it. Has a couple really cool shots there. Only 25,000 were made. Only 25,000 were made. $155 start. The Beatles Christmas record from 1963. Fan Club, National Newsletter #2. $155 start. Sincere good wishes for Christmas and the New Year from John, Paul, George, and Ringo. So if you want to bid on that, please put Christmas, $155. That's extremely cool. I think I have a copy tucked in somewhere. I know I have this. I haven't seen it in my collection in a long time. I was wanting to try to find mine and compare them, but I actually got one of these from a guy somewhat locally in Cookeville. He had one, and I think mine has some writing on it. Somebody was like writing their name. I think down here is like I love, like they love Ringo. So these things always got, people used to write the heck on Beatles jackets. You know, they put I circle George, I love him. So finding one that's kind of, it's not perfect, but I mean it's not destroyed either. Very, very cool. So that's our next auction. Now let me get back up. Sorry, I knew that'd take a few minutes to explain, but that's a really cool original 63 UK fan club release. Superfly, we was at 34, then we was at 35. The Beatles was at 61 with Thomas Hujar. Superfly 37, Christmas, and now so I never did hear back from Mark K. I've got to sell the Beatles. This has been up for a while. Let's go ahead and sell this Thomas Hujar for $61. Now we're down to two auctions. Superfly, which is at 37 with Scott Drum, and then the Beatles Christmas. Mark Fallon's at 80. He put a little Christmas tree for Christmas there. 180 with Mark Fallon. So Scott Drum has Superfly for 37. Christmas is at 180. Back to the $9.99 records for a while. We have the Beach Boys, Good Vibrations. This is in a Capitol Music for Pleasure UK compilation. It has Good Vibrations on it. $9.99. $9.99. Gamma 3 featuring Ronnie Montrose Hop Sticker. This is from that Wisconsin collection. $9.99 for Gamma 3. Ronnie Montrose, $9.99. The Steve Miller Band, Circle of Love. EX condition, Steve Miller Band. It has the original inner sleeve. $9.99 for Steve Miller Band. $9.99. EX condition, SMB. Rare Earth, get ready. No condition notes on Rare Earth on the original Rare Earth label. $9.99 for Get Ready. That entire side 2 is 21 minutes and 30 seconds of funky Get Ready. That is $9.99. Edgar Winter Group Shock Treatment, another near mint copy from that collection we got up in Wisconsin. Everything was shrink wrapped and near mint. Here's a residual record left over from that. It looks like it's unplayed. $9.99 for Edgar Winter Group. The Christmas record, the Beatles Christmas record's at $185. Marco V wants Boys, and that was for the Beach Boys. That's sold to Marco V. Tom Ulanowski, you were second. Ron Duffield got the Gamma record. That's sold to Ron Duffield. Henry's Choice wants RE. That's for Rare Earth. Jetstream second. Thomas Hujar and Edgar Winter Group. Pamela's at 190 on the Christmas record. And Dennis Jackson on Steve Miller. So, Mark Fallon, I was just waiting for you on the Curtis Mayfield Superfly. Scott Drum has that for 37. It's between Scott and Mark. That's at 37, going twice, going 3 times. Did he bid again? Or Scott, did you bid? Okay, I see what's going on now. Mark's at 38, Scott's at 39. Fred Carnell, you were second to Edgar Winter Group. Hank Williams, $9.99. This is the Metro, just a compilation of Hank Williams Senior music, $9.99. Superfly 39 with Scott. Mike Spariro is at $195 on the Beatles Christmas. Men at Work, business as usual. VG Plus condition, $9.99. Men at Work, business as usual. VG Plus, $9.99. Marshall Tucker Band, Where We All Belong. Marshall Tucker Band is $9.99. No condition notes, 2LP gatefold, $9.99. $9.99 for Marshall Tucker Band. And Neil Young, Hawks and Doves, $9.99 for Neil Young, Hawks and Doves, $9.99. Okay, so Christmas was at $195, Superfly was at $40, Jack Hewitt first on Men at Work, that's so to Jack Hewitt, Christopher Moore second, Homeland Conspiracy on Hank Sr., G.C. Colleton third on Men at Work, Chris Frazier fourth, and Scott Drums out on Superfly. So Mark Fallon, you're the final bidder on Superfly for $40. That's now going twice, going 3 times. No condition notes on the vinyl. Very nice jacket, as you saw earlier. Like I said, sometimes this delicate flip-open die-cut lettering is sometimes kind of dinged. Not on this one. $40, final call. And the Christmas record is going once, going twice. Pamela Yeager has the 1963 UK Beatles Fan Club Christmas record at $190 with Pamela Yeager. Back to the $9.99 stuff. The Knack, there's another copy. This one is a U.S. pressing. If you missed out on the German copy earlier, here's a nice U.S. pressing, also with the original inner sleeve. My Sharona. After School Session with Chuck Berry. This is an original Chess Masters reissue. It's near mint. $9.99 for Chuck Berry. And also Todd Rundgren Todd EX condition. $9.99 for Todd Rundgren Todd. EX $9.99. And Jeff Beck Wired. Also no condition notes on this. Jeff Beck Wired. $9.99 for Jeff Beck Wired. No condition notes on that one. One more before I do a auction update. And this is Tiffany. Tiffany, no condition notes as well. $9.99 on Tiffany. I must admit, I missed Mike's bid of $195. Sorry about that. Mike had already bid $195. Jeff bid $195. And then Pamela has bid $197. Julian gets the Chuck Berry for $9.99. Mark Fallon's at $200 on the Christmas record. We have Fred Carnell second on Chuck Berry. Jeffrey McCall on Jeff Beck. And now we got 2 people at $200 on the Christmas record. Colin or Mark Fallon was first. And Troy Robinson wants Tiffany. Craig Ruth was second. Greg Preston, you were second on Jeff Beck. But let's go ahead and sell Mark Fallon, the Superfly, for $40. That's sold to Mark Fallon for $40. Let me see what else I got over here. I don't have any rhyme or reason to tonight's auctions. Just pulling stuff out and seeing what happens. Essentially, I'm pulling out of a crate of high-end stuff, and I'm trying to sell as many as possible. And if we don't, what we don't get to, I will probably going to put in a discount bin. So I should have sold this last night for Grateful Dead night, but I found this in the bin last night. It's a 1970, an original 1970 Pittman pressing of the Grateful Dead, Working Man's Dead. It's on the original green label. It's on the original green label, and this is the Grateful Dead, Working Man's Dead. If I can just get it out of the sleeve. Uh-oh. Is it hung up on? It's in a polyline bag. There we go. I don't know what that was hung up on. Grateful Dead, the Working Man's Dead, 1970 Pittman press. Solid EX Plus. We have no condition notes on it. It's very clean for what this is. 1970, original green label for the Grateful Dead, Working Man's Dead. Just a $25 start on the Dead. Just a $25. It's in a nice polyline bag. Someone's upgraded to at some point. The Grateful Dead, Working Man's Dead, $25 start on that. $25 start on that. Okay, Scott Drum wanted the Knack. Did I miss the Knack? Let me go back to where that was. Scott Drum wanted the Knack. I got that. Got it now. Scott Drum got the Knack. Then it was Chuck Berry. And then it was Chuck Berry. Then it was Jeff Beck. Then it was Tiffany. Then it was Tiffany. Then it was Jeff Beck. And Tom Dearlove's at 25 on the Dead. Update on our Christmas record. We have a tie. Mark Fallon was in first. We got 4 active bidders. No one has set out on the 1963 UK Beatles Fan Club record. Mark Fallon was at 200. Mike, you tied him. You was in second. Jeff McMaster still bidding, and Pamela Yeager still bidding. No one has set out. The Beatles is at 200. The Dead's at 25 and now 30. Everything in here is $9.99. The Beach Boys, 10 Years of Harmony, $9.99 for the Beach Boys, 10 Years of Harmony. $9.99 for the Beach Boys, 10 Years of Harmony. And The Worst of Jefferson Airplane, which is, as I always say, a greatest hits comp. $9.99 for The Worst of Jefferson Airplane. Uriah Heep, Abominog. Uriah Heep is $9.99, and 10 Years After, Rock and Roll Music to the World. $9.99 for 10 Years After, Rock and Roll Music to the World. 10 Years After, $9.99. Missed the title and price on Marshall Tucker Band. Marshall Tucker Band is called Where We All Belong. Where We All Belong is $9.99. No condition notes, 2 LPs. Thomas Hujar got Uriah Heep for $9.99. Blade Singletary was second. Christopher Morris got the Jefferson Airplane. Tom Ulanowski got the Beach Boys, and Henry's Choice gets the 10 Years After. Jeff is in on the Beatles at $205. New bid on the Christmas record. Now Mark's out. Now Mike's out. Now Pamela's out. Jeff's at $205. Update on the Grateful Dead. Tom Dearlove, let me know if you want back in. Jesse Rome has that for $30. Going once, going twice. Bill Wyman, Monkey Grip. Bill Wyman is $9.99. He has the original inner sleeve. $9.99 for Bill Wyman's Monkey Grip. Bill Wyman of the Rolling Stones, $9.99. Willie Nelson, Shrink Wrap and Hop Sticker, always on my mind. No condition notes, also has the original inner sleeve. $9.99 for Willie, $9.99. Jeff Master gets the Bill Wyman. Brian C. was second. ABBA, Arrival, also a very clean record. No condition notes, original inner sleeve. ABBA is $9.99. Dave D. wants the Willie Nelson. That's so did Dave Deckenberger. And the Beach Boys in concert. This was actually pressed in Canada. It's a Canadian pressing, 2 LP. Near mint minus. It does have a punch hole on the cover. $9.99. Okay, Tom's out on the Dead. I'm about to sell this for $30 to Jesse Rome. And let's do an update. I feel like we're going to probably be bidding on this one a while unless some people start saying out. There's a lot of compilation or a lot of contemplation. Thank you, Seth. Thank you, Seth. Let me say it a little bit more simpler. I think there's a lot of people thinking about this one right now. But don't think long, because you'll think wrong, is what somebody always told me. It's pretty scarce. It's a pretty scarce record. 25,000. They came out 60 years ago. Is that 60 years ago? 60 years ago that came out. And they only made 25,000. Some of these limited edition records today, they make 25,000, and it's like you don't hardly see them for sale. This was made 60 years ago. Willie Nelson, Dave Deckenberger, Heather Feather on ABBA. That's sold to Heather Feather, and Sherry Darnell wants the Beach Boys in concert. Those are both sold for $9.99. The Jacksons Victory, $9.99 for the Jacksons Victory, $9.99, and the Best of Black Oak, Arkansas in shrink wrap. The Best of on the yellow Atco label, $9.99, and Johnny Winter, Second Winter, $9.99. Johnny Winter, wow, that's on the original 2i label. Second Winter, Johnny Winter, that's on the original label. I don't see that one as much on that first label. $9.99 for Johnny Winter. Planet P Project, Pink World, $9.99 for Planet P. And we have the Best of Joe Tex. No condition notes, Joe Tex. Atlantic Mono, original label, $9.99. All right, let's sell Tom Dearlove, the Grateful Dead, for $30. Any original inserts on Todd album? Give me 1 second, I'll check. We have the Mark Fallon's out on the Christmas record. I was waiting for Pamela Yeager and Mike to say something. Pamela's out. Mike Sperero, if you can still hear me, let me know. Jeff McMaster has that at $205. It's pretty much a final call to him because I think he may be the last bidder. The Christmas record's at $205. Jim Hampton wants the Black Oak, Arkansas. That's sold to Jim Hampton for $9.99. Henry's Choice gets the Marshall Tucker Band, and that was from earlier. That's sold to Henry's Choice, and Fred Carnell wants the Johnny Winter. Those are all sold. Now, we still got Todd Rundgren. Someone asked, does it have any inserts? And Todd Rundgren has 2 LPs, and it has something in here. It has a piece of cardboard, I guess, to protect the 2 LPs. EX Condition, I think, is what we graded this. It does have some writing on the cover. Albo, EX Condition, 2 LP, but that's all I see with it. Just a piece of cardboard. It has the 2 LPs, of course. EX Condition, $9.99. Okay, we had Johnny Winter. Julian wants GT or JT for Joe Tex. That's so to Julian. Stephen was second. Mike's out on Christmas. Thank you for letting me know. Tom says Dad went to somebody else. Jesse Rome, that's right, Jesse Rome. Tom was bidding, Jesse got it for 30. Jesse Rome got that for 30. Tanner, look, Tanner knows what's going on. He already had the sticky note rope. Pay no attention to what I'm saying. Jared McLaughlin gets Planet P. $9.99 on that. It looks like Jeff McMaster is going to get the Beatles Christmas record. I'm going to go ahead and grab the next Beatles record. I'm also going to go ahead and grab the, what else am I going to get over here? Let's do this right here. And I'm going to grab the next auction record, whatever is over here. And the next auction record that's over here is going to be Rush. Exit stage left. All right, I'm going to mute my mic for 1 second, take a drink of water. We're going to finish up this $9.99 bin, and then we have more. I actually have more that I'm just going to add to it. Okay, here we go. Sold to Jeff McMaster. Very cool. Sincere good wishes for Christmas and the New Year from John, Paul, George, and Ringo. That is sold to Jeff McMaster for $205. Very cool. 1963. Next auction is Rush, Exit Stage Left. I pulled this out of a bin. It's a super nice copy. A 1981 18 press. I don't know what that means. I think it's because there's an 18 on the label somewhere. Yeah, right below the... Wow, this is very nice. Rush, Exit Stage Left. Generic white inner sleeves. That LP is near mint minus, and so is this LP. Super clean. It's a gatefold. Rush is a $25 start. Exit Stage Left, $25 start for Rush, Exit Stage Left. $25 start on that. Our next Beatles auction, this is a unofficial. So a very cool thing about collecting Beatles records is there's a lot of foreign copies that have completely different covers. This is actually Help, or Hard Day's Night. This is Help. Yeah, this is Help. This is a straight up bootleg of Help that looks just like the 1965 Italian pressing. It's a bootleg or an unofficial. I sometimes use the word replica because it looks just like the 1965 Italian pressing, which is not too easy to get. It's got a completely different cover. There's the back cover they used in the UK. And, of course, it had a completely different cover here in the U.S. as well. But what's really cool about this one is it's on colored vinyl. And this is going to be a $35 start. And there's obviously these bootlegs, if you could sell them on Discogs. 36 people have this in their collection. 420 people want it. This is in 420 people's want list on Discogs. So... if these could be sold on Discogs, they would probably sell very quickly. A lot of people want this because some people just want a copy because the originals are so tough to find. And that's what Dale collected a lot of these bootlegs and replicas until he could find an original. So that's what it is. It's on purple vinyl. It's a 1965 bootleg of the 1965 Help Italian release. And it's on colored vinyl. As you can see, there's a pretty high demand. I always look for that on some of these bootlegs. Only 36 people have it and 420 people want it. That's a pretty good ratio of demand on that one. 35 and now 45 of Tom Ulanowski. Rush was at 25, 25, 25, and now 27. Two more $9.99 records in here. The Who, It's Hard, half off at $9.99, and Emmylou Harris, Roses in the Snow. Very clean copy for Emmylou Harris. Original inner sleeve, $9.99. So Tom's at 45 on the Beatles. Sean's at 29 on Rush. I'm going to go through these one more time. Sitting over to my left, I have some Rob Zombies. I have Rob Zombie, the Venomous Rat Regeneration Vendor. Rob Zombie's $33.99. Astro Creep 2000 Live. So that's the album, Astro Creep 2000 Live by Rob Zombie. That's $31.99. I also have Aerosmith, Toys in the Attic, remastered for $36.99. And late last night I showed this, and I said I was going to show it again tonight because we hadn't shown one in a long time. We sold a copy last night. I finally convinced somebody. I was like, I bet if I show this again tomorrow, when a lot more people are watching, we'll sell a couple copies. $33.99. It's a 2LP, The Very Best of Billy Idol. 2LP, The Very Best of Billy Idol. That is $33.99 for The Very Best of Billy Idol. And yes, I do plan on doing a new vinyl recap. But let me finish going through the $9.99 stuff. Davey Blair got Emmylou Harris. The Who, by the way, for $9.99 has the hit song Eminence Front on it. Eminence Front. Christopher Morris, let me know if you want back in. Actually, Nick Bargeron's the high bidder on the Beatles. Nick Bargeron's at 50 on the Beatles. Help. Bootleg of the Italian release. And Sean Holford still has Rush for 29. A couple of other people have bid, but no one's outbid him since he bid 29. Before I do a recap, I got even more. I've got like a fifth of a crate over here, actually. I got a fifth of a crate of $9.99 records. Let me just go ahead and add those to this batch. Let me just add these to this, and I'm just going to kind of refill it. Let me just kind of restock this one. $9.99. Greg Preston wants Billy Idol. I figured we'd sell at least one. The very best of Billy Idol. 2 LP, $33.99. If anybody else wants one, let me know. All right, so everything in here is $9.99, including Billy Joe Street Life Serenade. That's in shrink wrap, $9.99. Bow Wow Wow, See Jungle, See Jungle. Bow Wow Wow is $9.99, and that is a full album. That is a full album of Bow Wow Wow. That's $9.99. War, Deliver the Word, no condition notes. Major markdown on this one. Original inner sleeve, War, Deliver the Word, $9.99. Henry's Choice gets the Billy Joe for $9.99. Gerard Cacciatore wants Bow Wow Wow. Jeff Rice, You Were Second. And John Barleycorn Must Die, a classic from Traffic is what I'm trying to say. Traffic is $9.99. And the Turtles' Greatest Hits, So Happy Together. The Turtles is $9.99. So Henry's Choice got Billy Joe. Gerard got Bow Wow Wow. Jeff Rice second. Chris B. Jack third. Ron Duffield fourth. Julian gets War. That's so did Julian. Terry Schneider second. Jetstream third. Fred Carnell, you were fifth or sixth on Bow Wow Wow. Another Billy Joe. This is 52nd Street. Original inner sleeve. Another Billy Joe classic. $9.99 for 52nd Street. Terry Schneider gets the Turtles. That's so did Terry for $9.99. And REO Speedwagon, or as I call it, Oreo Speedwagon, $9.99. I would love some Oreos right now, right, Tanner? Oreos and milk. How about you, Seth? You don't like Oreos? What is wrong with you? We have Blade Singletary on REO Speedwagon, and Christopher Morris put BI, and that's probably for Billy Idol. Blade Singletary on REO, and Christopher Morris got a Billy Idol. So that was $9.99. Billy Idol's $33.99. All right, Rich Shockley's at $35 on Rush. Sean Holford is out, and we need to do a final call on the Beatles. The Beatles is at 55 of Tom Ulanowski. That was a bid that came in. Tom Ulanowski, this is the unofficial purple marble vinyl bootleg of the 1965 Italian version of the Beatles' Help. Tom Ulanowski was at $65. The Beatles, $65. Christopher Morris got a Billy Idol. Blade Singletary got the REO for $9.99. And we still got a Billy Joe, and we still got a Traffic in here. More of the Monkees. VG Plus Condition. This is the Monkees' second album. It's an original mono pressing. $9.99 for More of the Monkees. VG Plus Condition, and Culture Club Color by Numbers. I've actually got two copies. $9.99. Karma Chameleon, $9.99. So final call on the Beatles for 55, and final call on Rush for 35. 35 and 55. 35 and 55. Jim Hampton gets the Monkees, $9.99. That's so to Jim Hampton. We had Simon & Garfunkel, Bridge Over Troubled Water, on the original label. That's on the original label, $9.99. The Doobie Brothers, Minute by Minute. What a Fool Believes, Michael McDonald, original inner sleeve, $9.99 for the Doobie Brothers. I've got one copy. I've got two copies. I got two copies of that one for $9.99. And another Disney record. This is called Sing and Other Sunny Songs. Sing and Other Sunny Songs, $9.99. So a Disney compilation of happy music. Happy music, $9.99. Henry's Choice wants the Simon & Garfunkel. That's sold to Henry's Choice, and Michelle Miller on the Disney record. I've done my final calls. I think I have gave ample time for everybody to bid. I'm going to start reaching for these auctions so we can start putting up more new stuff. I'm reaching for it. Rush, Rich Shockley gets that for $35. And I'm reaching for the Beatles, $55. That is to Tom Ulanowski. And that's sold to Tom Ulanowski for $55. Let's put up some more. Let's see what I have over here in the Beatles bin. I've got West Coast Invasion, the Beatles self-titled, which is a BBC bootleg, Commonwealth, the Little Red Album, Ooh, let's do the Jolly White. This one is also one of, that's kind of like the My Bonnie record. This is one of those, the Beatles and Frank Ifield. This is one of those that it's always on the checklist, something that's not too easy to get that you kind of have to have in your collection. And this is a 1964 mono copy on VJ. It's about a VG, but we'll go ahead and maybe say even a VG minus. $45 start. Jolly White. England's greatest recording stars, the Beatles and Frank Ifield on stage. The Beatles and Frank Ifield on stage. That's on VJ. It is a Monarch 1964 mono. You got to be careful of counterfeits of these. You got to be careful of bootlegs. There's a lot of them out there. This is a 64 US mono, VG minus condition, $45 start. Jolly White, the Beatles and Frank Ifield, $45 start. Of course, there is the original one of this that has like the Beatles on it. There, two of them are like sitting in a chair with their legs crossed, and the other two are sitting behind them. You know, that's an album that's worth, you know, 1,000, 2,000 plus in really high grade condition. So that's a rare one. That's pretty much the same thing, just like a little bit different cover. It came out in 64. And that's a $45 start. The Beatles, Jolly White. The portrait cover, yes, the portrait cover. That one's extremely desirable. Very expensive Beatles record. This is a $45 start on this one. Back up to the top, we sold both Doobie Brothers. Terry got one and Jetstream got one. So those are both sold for $9.99. For $9.99, now this is kind of like a recap. In case you missed them, though, the Charlie Daniels Band, High Lonesome, $9.99. Elvis Costello, Blood and Chocolate, EX, that's $9.99. And The Nice was $9.99. Addition and Subtraction, that was the last Disney record that's left, $9.99. And the Pentangle is in shrink wrap, $9.99. Also, I haven't made any announcements tonight while I'm grabbing the next auction. If you are tuning in tomorrow, you're going to get a chance to bid on some amazing, once-in-a-lifetime, once every 10 years, once every they don't come up for sale too often, autographs. Tomorrow night, we're also going to have other auctions. We're probably, while we're selling autographs, I'm going to be doing something else, kind of like tonight. We got Beatles records, and I'm doing something else. Same thing for tomorrow. Also, if you're local, or if you're within the driving vicinity of CollectCo, you'll want to come to the store on the premises Friday and Saturday. Friday and Saturday, we're doing a $1 in-store sale. You have to be here. And if you're here shopping, anything else in the store, I'm talking anything, 20% off. It's going to kind of be like our Black Friday. Next week, Tanner's getting married. We got a pretty busy weekend next weekend with Tanner getting hitched. So we're not really going to be able to do a lot of the Black Friday stuff we normally do. We're probably going to miss, or Paul's going to be doing the show next week. So we're really trying to do our Black Friday stuff the early part of next week. Tanner's been saying we're going to do a Black Wednesday sale. A week from tonight, it's probably going to be a crazy night to tune into CollectCo. We're going to have new vinyl blowouts. It's going to be one of those crazy nights, okay? That's going to be kind of like our Black Friday sale. We're going to have a Black Wednesday, which will be a week from tonight. Because next Friday, we've got a wedding rehearsal, and then next Saturday, Tanner, you're getting hitched, right, Tanner? Yep. Tanner's getting hitched next Saturday, so he says it's happening. It's locked in. So this is kind of why we're doing some of the stuff this week and this weekend for our sales. And then next week, we're going to be doing a lot of our like Christmas discounts, stuff I've been holding back to put out for auction, surprises. That's going to be next week. It's going to be a very crazy, short but very crazy week for CollectCo. So our next auction is the Rolling Stones. And this is red Decca German pressing. This is Between the Buttons. The Rolling Stones German pressing, $25 start. It's near mint. Now this is a little bit later pressing, I would say, probably 70s on this red Decca label. It is pristine though. The Rolling Stones Between the Buttons, $25 start. $25 start. Okay, we have Charlie Frank gets the Pentangle for $9.99. We have Rolling Stones 25 and Sean Holford's at 25. Carol was in first. Finishing up the $9.99 stuff, Neil Young, Hawks and Doves, the Jacksons Victory, Todd Rundgren Todd, and the Who, It's Hard. These are all $9.99. That's all that's left. We've sold an entire crate and a half. This is all that's left. The Who, Todd Rundgren, the Jacksons, Neil Young, Walt Disney, The Nice, Elvis Costello, Charlie Daniels, Culture Club, Billy Joel, and John Barleycorn Must Die by Traffic. Mike Post wants The Who. Tanner, those 4 crates of $6.99 stuff are still in the back. If Seth or Tanner could get those, that's that last stack of four crates of $9.99 or $6.99 stuff. But I do have another crate to go through. But first, let me do some condensing. But the last 4 crates that I plan on going through tonight are still in the back. $6.99 records. Michael Thomas wants the Charlie Daniels Band and the Billy Joel. There's a couple in here I'm like, man, why haven't these sold yet? There is Billy Joel. Seth, they're where the autographs are at. The autograph room. We now officially have an autograph room here at Coleco. We have like literally a whole room with all of our autographs in it. And I work in there about every day trying to figure out what we have and who signed it and what's authenticated and what's not authenticated. Michael Thomas got Billy Joel and Charlie Daniels Band. We got a bidding war going on for the Rolling Stones. I cannot believe it, but no one bid on the Beatles, Jolly Watt, just a $45 buy it now. The Beatles, Jolly Watt, if anybody wants it, that is a $45 buy it now. $45 buy it now for the Beatles, Jolly Watt. Now, we had a lot of connection problems when the show first started. If anybody wants to see the new vinyl again, I'm going to run through that very quickly one more time, and then I've got another half crate of new vinyl that has not been shown. Brent Rively, you got a heck of a deal on that. Jolly Watt, that's one we don't get too often, and it's an original. It's not a bootleg or anything. That's sold to Brent for $45. Kind of hate to see that go. This is now at Carol Puckett's for $35. Sean Holford, you're out. These are what's left. We've sold 3. We've put up 3 crates of discounts, and that's all that's left. I'm about to do another crate, but first let me go through this new vinyl very, very quickly. I don't want anybody to think we're not done discounting vintage, because we're not done discounting vintage, but I do need to go through the new vinyl one more time because we got kind of messed up on the streams earlier. Some people probably didn't even know we were live, so let me do that very quickly. I'm going to go ahead and grab the next Beatles auction. We had some great new vinyl. We've already sold out of some stuff. This was a lot of restocks and stuff that I've never had before or haven't had in a long time. Let me grab another Beatles record out of here. And I like this one. This one's called Not Guilty. First of all, I like the cover. That's from the music video where they did Ticket to Ride. This is a 1985 Netherlands, and what it is, it's unreleased tracks and a live TV performance they did. So it's unreleased tracks and live, but I really like this cover on this one. It's from the Ticket to Ride video, $45 start. This is a Netherlands bootleg from 1985, $45. It's called Not Guilty, which is an unreleased, that's a very well-known unreleased Beatles song. Paul McCartney did, Not Guilty, and it is the first track on here. George Harrison, lead guitar and release, Not Guilty. Is that McCartney singing that or George Harrison? I always thought that was Paul McCartney. It may be a George Harrison song, now that I'm thinking about it. $45 start, Not Guilty. I always thought that was Paul McCartney doing that one, though. This is 1985 Netherlands, and that is live, $45 start, and unreleased tracks. Okay, so the Stones is at 39. Carol's out. Sean's out. Mark Lent, you may end up getting the Stones here between the buttons. A German copy, just extremely nice German copy in stereo between the buttons, $39, and that's a final call. George did Not Guilty. Yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, I always thought that was kind of Paul singing, but that's definitely George. $45 start on Not Guilty. Okay, we have Pantera live at Dynamo Open Air. This is $39.99. That's a 2LP live colored vinyl. $39.99 on Pantera. Velvet Underground Loaded. Can't believe no one bought this yet. A classic. Lou Reed and the Velvet Underground, $31.99. Ray LaMontagne, Gossip in the Grain. Ray LaMontagne's $39.99. Primus Pork Soda was $39.99. And a half-speed master of White Light, White Heat by the Velvet Underground. Of course, good luck finding very nice, clean copies, originals of those. They're not cheap, and they just keep on going up. Ritual D-Lo Habitual, and that is the Jane's Addiction 2LP colored vinyl, $44.99. Soundgarden, Super Unknown. Soundgarden is $46.99. That's a 2LP. The Essential Stevie Ray Vaughan, that's a Stevie Ray Vaughan's greatest hits. That is an official release. 2LP, 17 songs, just $33.99. Susie and the Banshees, that's a live unofficial from 1981, $44.99. And Eminem, The Eminem Show, that's $39.99 for Eminem. And we still got Elton John, Tumbleweed Connection. That's one of the ones I was talking about. I don't think I've ever had a new copy of it. If so, it's been a long time. $33.99. Thomas Hujar is in on the Rolling Stones at 40. Mark Lent, you've been outbid, and Christopher Morris is at 45 on the Beatles. This is at 45 of Christopher Morris. 45 on that. 45 on that. Also, Eric Clapton Slow Hand, new and sealed, $28.99. This is a live concert from The Cure, unofficial, from 1984, Washington, D.C. $44.99. Dr. Dre, 2001. $39.99 for Dr. Dre. Also, Eminem Relapse, that's $39.99. The Killer, Sam's Town, $36.99, one of the Killer's solo albums or studio albums. Ray LaMontagne, Trouble, $31.99. The Killers, that's their greatest hits, direct hits, $46.99. And Erykah Badu, Baduism, that's $44.99 for Erykah Badu. Now, the other crate over here I was talking about, also final call on the Stones. Mark Lent, let me know if you want back in. I did get a restock of Kiss Unplugged. I've got 2 random copies in if anybody still needs a Kiss Unplugged. $44.99 for Kiss Unplugged. And here's a new release. For the first time ever, Shania Twain's greatest hits. First time ever she's put out a greatest hits on vinyl. Finally, a lot of these 90s artists are starting to get their catalogs out in print. It's long overdue. The 90s, of course, a major time for country music, and there was almost nothing being pressed on vinyl. So they're finally starting to do some of this. There was a pre-order on Shania. Let me try to pull that up right quick. This is a greatest hits, $44.99 for Shania Twain. And this is a pre-order. Let me read off everybody who got one. David Schroeder, Troy Robinson, Lily McCurry, Stacey Brown, Paul Brothers, Nikki Cox, John Duran, Julianne Roman, and Cynthia Herdren. And that was for Shania Twain's greatest hits. David Schroeder, Troy Robinson, Lily McCurry, Stacey Brown, Paul Brothers, Nikki Cox, John Duran, Julie Roman, and Cynthia Herdren. So, Tanner, I need 9 copies of that. Let's see what I got over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's my 9 copies I need. So I've got 5 or 6 extra Shanias. I got 6 extra to sell. Shania Twain, $44.99. Shania Twain's greatest hits, $44.99. All right, so Thomas bid 40 on the Rolling Stones. That's about to sell. Sean Holford wants the Jane's Addiction. That's sold to Sean. Mark Lent wants Trouble by Ray LaMontagne, and he's at 46 on the Stones. So Mark Lent is going to get the Ray LaMontagne album, and he's bid 46. So Thomas Hujar, you're out on the Stones. The Stevie Ray Vaughan was $33.99, and that is the essential Stevie Ray Vaughan, $33.99. We have not got Ozzy and Dolly. Everybody's getting one. I've got my full order of Ozzy coming in and a full order of Dolly. I'm going to have like 5 or 6 extra copies of Dolly as of right now. And but what do we have waiting list on, Tanner? I don't think there was any new titles, Jerry. Do we have any waiting list at all, really? I don't think we do. I'll show those in 1 second. There are 2 unofficials. Probably something you wouldn't be interested in, Jerry. There's 2 unofficials. There's a Madonna covers album, unofficial, and a Clash Live. That's the only 2 waiting lists that we sold out of. Larry Smith wants Shania Twain. That's sold to Larry Smith. Thomas Bowman wants a Shania Twain. And Michael Word on the Stevie Ray Vaughan, the essential Stevie Ray Vaughan. And Shania is a double LP. Yes, 2 LP. I really hadn't got to read the hype yet. 23 of Shania Twain's biggest hits, including the smash singles Man, I Feel Like a Woman, Any Man of Mine, and You're Still the One. Shania Twain, 2 LP. That's all of her essentials, $44.99. And that's a new release. First time ever on vinyl. Comes out Friday. She's never had a greatest hits on vinyl. And most of her albums are in print, but they're not pricey. Like her biggest album is, 40. I think her album, we got it over here somewhere. Right here. This one, what is this one called? Come On Over, 25th anniversary. That's $44.99 by itself, but of course it's got most of her biggest hits on it. That's her solo album. This is her greatest hits. That's sold to Brian C. And let's go ahead and update Thomas Hujar. He's at 46 on the Rolling Stones. Mark Lent, you're out. Let me know if you want back in. Thomas has that for 47 and only 1 bid on the Beatles, but we're selling it to Christopher Morris for $45. Evanescence will be on this week's invoice. Yes, those are due in tomorrow. Tomorrow, autographs, huge night for new vinyl tomorrow. Huge night for new vinyl tomorrow. Autographs, other auctions, and we'll have more vintage discount records, which is what I'm putting up right now. Let's go through some $6.99 stuff. Wow, just $6.99. I do have a $19.99 crate, though. Let me see if I can... well, it's going to take me a while. I might have to do this one tomorrow because this also has all kinds of other stuff in it. We may have to do the 19. That will be a very fun crate tomorrow, but I'm still trying to, yeah, it would take me a while to get this one ready because there's all kinds of other stuff mixed in here. But let me pull some stuff out that I'm going to auction because this is my auction crate, and it's halfway an auction crate and halfway some stuff I was going to make for buy it now best offer. But here, I'll do 3 auctions. Let me pull, let's see, let's do this one right here, Jimi Hendrix, and let me just go ahead and grab the next Beatles record. Okay, the next Beatles record is, what do we have over here? Oh yeah, this is really cool. Okay, let's do the $6.99 crate. I don't have the $19.99 really ready. It's kind of mixed up, but we're going to do some $6.99 stuff. That's even better, right? Maybe. Definitely a cheaper price. $6.99 posted tomorrow. Not to my knowledge. Did I say I was doing posters tomorrow? I don't have any posters tomorrow. No posters tomorrow. Okay, Mark Lentz out on Rolling Stones. Thomas Hujar has that for $47. Now, do we have posters? We have an unusual amount of posters, hundreds, but I don't have, probably won't have any ready for tomorrow night. Jimi Hendrix. Jimi Hendrix. This is the Band of Gypsies. This is the last studio album, or the last album that came out while Jimi Hendrix was still alive. It is the Fillmore Concerts. It's a live recording, super clean copy, $25 start. No condition notes on the vinyl. The cover is in VG Plus condition, $25 start for Jimi Hendrix Band of Gypsies. Now, this Beatles record is extremely cool. This is an original Chile, as in Chilean, Chile, the country. 1964. This is A Hard Day's Night. The Beatles, A Hard Day's Night from Chile. It is official. It's an Odeon EMI. Now, what's confusing is I don't know if they really don't know, but there's 2 Discogs entries, one for a red label and one for a red label and one for a yellow label, and they both say original label. So I'm pretty sure red came first, but either way, once again, look at this. Only 11 people have this in their Discogs collection, and 231 people want it. 11 people have it, 230 people want it in their Discogs. None in the United States for sale. $95 start. Very scarce Beatles record here. A 1964 mono Hard Day's Night. It's actually in a really heavy jacket, but it's kind of one of those like, it's in cardboard that's kind of like wrapped in plastic, if that makes sense. But that's A Hard Day's Night. That's from Chile. 1964. Only 11 people have it in the Discogs collection. $95 start. Hard Day's Night. That's now up for bid. Jimi Hendrix is a $25 start. Okay. Everything in this bin, make sure I grab the right one. Everything in this bin is just $6.99. We're probably going to go through these pretty fast because I've got 4 of these. Mickey Newberry, The Sailor, $6.99. Mike Seeger, Old Time Country Music. Mike Seeger is $6.99. Deep in a Dream, The Fleetwoods, $6.99 for The Fleetwoods. Also, Tierra Mari, maybe, $6.99 for Tiara, maybe. John Baldry, Everything Stops for Tea, $6.99 for John Baldry. Kool and the Gang, Emergency, EX Condition, $6.99. The Best of the Dave Clark 5, that's a UK pressing. The Best of the Dave Clark 5, $6.99 for Best of Dave Clark 5. Dolo Coker, All Alone. Dolo Coker is $6.99. Jeff and Master on JB for John Baldry. That's sold to Jeff for $6.99. Rye Cooter, Bop Till You Drop. Rye is $6.99. And Earth Music, The Youngbloods. No condition notes. $6.99 for The Youngbloods on the original RCA. Travis Wade on TM. TM was for the Tierra Mari, maybe. That's sold to Travis Wade. Sorry if I'm butchering that name. Henry's Choice was second on John Baldry. Jeff Master wants DC for Dolo Coker. That's sold to Jeff Master. Jetstream was second. All right, I'm going to make Jimi Hendrix a buy it now for $25 if anybody wants it. And a final call to get a bid in on the Beatles for $95 before that's a buy it now. But Jimi Hendrix is a $25 buy it now. Very clean copy of Band of Gypsies. I almost said Axis Bold as Love. Band of Gypsies. Okay, Terry Schneider wants the Youngbloods for $6.99. Final call on the Beatles to get a $95 start on that. And we have the Pentangle, Sweet Child, 2 LP, the Pentangle, just $6.99. Also, we have Johnny Rivers at the Whiskey A Go Go. Johnny Rivers is in VG Plus condition, $6.99. Johnny Rivers at the Whiskey A Go Go, VG Plus condition. Silver Convention, a love and a sleeper. Silver Convention, $6.99. And their original Roy Orbison, all-time greatest hits. That's actually a 2 LP, $6.99. The great all-time hits of Roy Orbison, $6.99. Okay, I'm going to put this up for auction for just a $25 start. I can't believe it didn't sell the last time. But first, let me make sure I didn't miss anything. We have any metal nights. Not planned, but could we have one soon? Yes. We're trying to stockpile it. If anybody knows of anybody with a metal collection, I say this all the time. If you or somebody you know has a collection of metal LPs for sale, contact us immediately. But here's what happens. It's crickets. Nobody's selling their metal records. They're very hard to find a collection of metal and 90s alternative and early 2000s vinyl originals, 90s originals. They're just not out there. We have to literally travel across the country to find those. Right now, it's a dry run on metal collections. Nothing happening right now. We get them in, they're all gone, and we definitely don't have an unlimited supply. Jimi Hendrix is sold to Michael Nath for $25, Tanner. That was a buy it now for $25. Fred Carnell wants the Pentangle. Fred Carnell gets the Pentangle for $6.99. Terry Schneider gets the Johnny Rivers for $6.99. Travis Wade wants the Roy Orbison. Michelle was second. Julian third. Christopher Morris fourth. Fred Carnell fifth. Terry Schneider sixth. Also, Jethro Tull Stormwatch EX condition, $6.99. Jethro Tull Stormwatch, that's $6.99. And the Buddy Holly Story VG Plus condition, $6.99 for the Buddy Holly Story. So we do have a bid for $95 on the Chili Beatles. The Chilean Beatles are at $95 of Thomas. That's a final call. And our next auction is Dr. John's Gumbo. Dr. John's Gumbo, a 1972 SRC press of Dr. John's Gumbo. It does have a saw mark on it, but this is one we don't get too often. I think this one has Mr. Bojangles on it. Dr. John's Gumbo. Very cool. Original Atco inner sleeve. Original Atco label. $25 start. $25 start for Dr. John Gumbo. $25 start. And I think, yes, it has the lyric insert too. It has the lyric insert too. $25 start. $25 start. Gatefold. A really just nice copy. It is a cutout. It does have a notch, but just super clean. $25 start on that. Okay, we sold Roy Orbison. Blade Singletary on Jethro Tull, $6.99. Gerard got Buddy Holly for $6.99. Jim Nilsson, second on Jethro Tull. Bob, second on Buddy Holly. Fred, third. Julian, fourth. And Kelly, if you want to bid on Dr. John, $25 start. Back to the bin. VG David Bowie, $6.99. Vesper Years, this is $6.99. Vesper Years, that's $6.99. Larry Coryell, $6.99 for Larry Coryell. And Gordon Lightfoot, Back Here on Earth. EX condition, $6.99. Gordon Lightfoot, Back Here on Earth. The Four Seasons, New Gold Hits, $6.99 on the Four Seasons. And Elvis Costello is VG for $6.99. Let's go ahead and sell Thomas Hujar, the Chilean Beatles, for $95. That is sold to Thomas, I think Thomas. Yeah, Thomas gets that. Very cool Beatles record there. Very, very scarce. Very scarce. Dr. John looking for a $25 start. Jetstream gets the LC, which is Larry Coryell. That's sold to Jetstream. Bill McAllister on the Gordon Lightfoot. That's sold to Bill McAllister. And Heather Feather on Elvis Costello. These are all $6.99. Continuing, Bruce Hornsby on the Range. Sing from the South Side, that's $6.99. And the Doobie Brothers Stampede, $6.99 for the Doobie Brothers Stampede. Pickin' Time, Grandpa Jones, $6.99 for Grandpa Jones. KC and the Sunshine Band, Do You Want to Go Party? That's a double-sided single. It's sealed. It's never been opened. $6.99. And Jeannie Morris, Body and Soul. That's also sealed for $6.99. Kelly's at $25 on Dr. John's Gumbo. Going twice, going three times for $25. Let's put up another Beatles. Very cool. Here's another one of these unique Beatles pressings. This is a French replica of the Beatles Meet the Beatles, or With the Beatles, yeah. On pink vinyl. Very cool colored vinyl too. $35 start, and this is an exact replica of the French copy of With the Beatles. And this would be a very cool original to have. They're very scarce. They released it in France as a gatefold with a die-cut cover that had an insert you could swap in and out. That's how the original French copy looked. It was a gatefold with a die-cut cover where you could swap out the picture. That's extremely cool. I would love to have an original of that. This is the next best thing. It's a French replica on pink vinyl. That's a $35 start. Very tough to find an original of that. Very, very tough. I think that's why Dale collected these, because they're scarce. I mean, trying to find one, show up in person, eBay, Discogs, especially in the United States, from a trusted seller and high grade, very scarce. Very scarce. Final call on Dr. John for $25. Jared wants the David Bowie. That's $6.99. Tom Ulanowski is at $45 on the Beatles. Also, we have Nat King Cole. Nat King Cole, that's $6.99. That's a 1969 pressing with the booklet, $6.99. Country Joe and the Fish Reunion. Country Joe and the Fish Reunion, $6.99. Lots of discounts going on in here for $6.99. There's another Mickey Newberry, The Sailor. I think that was the first record in the bin too. Yep, $6.99. Also, Orbison Songs. Here's another Roy Orbison, $6.99. That's an original on the Monument label. Michelle Miller wants the Nat King Cole. And actually, the DB was for Doobie Brothers, I believe. Jared, did you want David Bowie, or was there a Doobie Brothers in here? There was. Jared put DB. That might have been for David Bowie, or that could have been for the Doobie Brothers. Jared, I've got you down for David Bowie. I believe Jetstream wants the Doobie Brothers, unless that's what Jared wanted. Michelle got Nat King Cole. I've already pulled that, and Christopher Morris gets the Orbison. So, Tom Ulanowski's at $45 on the Beatles. Very cool replica here of the original 65 French version. And let's go ahead and sell this to Kelly. That was a $25 winning bid to Kelly. Okay, we have the Fifth Dimension, 22 of their fabulous hits. The Fifth Dimension, $6.99. The original hits of the Beau Brummels, $6.99. The original hits of the Beau Brummels and the Circle Neon. That's in shrink wrap, the Circle Neon. That's on a Columbia 2i in mono, in the original baggie. The Circle Neon, original baggie, Columbia 2i mono, $6.99. Planet P, $6.99 on Planet P. And Patton, the original motion picture score. Patton, original motion picture score, $6.99. Also, David Sanborn, A Change of Heart, that's $6.99. Early Steppenwolf, recorded live at the Matrix, 1967. The Doors just released a concert from the Matrix, 1967. That sounded like the movies. Jared said he wanted the Doobie Brothers. Okay, so Tanner, earlier there was a Doobie Brothers in here. That is not sold. I'm going to leave it in there. I don't want to mess up your order. But that Doobie Brothers, Jetstream, Jared wanted the Doobie Brothers, not David Bowie. Jim Nielsen gets the Circle. That's sold to Jim Nielsen. Jeff McMaster on DS for David Sanborn. We have Blade Singletary on Steppenwolf. Kelly was second. William Warback third. And Henry's Choice is fourth. And this Beatles record is sold for $45 to Tom Ulanowski. Tom Ulanowski is that for $45. Our next Beatles record, this has got a very unique cover to it. It was designed by National Lampoons. It's called The Little Red Album. The Little Red Album. And this is the Beatles. It's a 1988 New Zealand unofficial. And this is actually really unique. It's outtakes from the White Album and rare unreleased tracks. This is outtakes from the White Album. $55 start. It's the Beatles, The Little Red Album. And one of these, is this the one? One of these is on translucent virgin vinyl, which I think is incredible because it's a bootleg. Not this one. But one of these, I may have already sold it tonight. When you hold it up to the light, it's on translucent virgin vinyl, which I thought was incredible. A bootleg. They used super high quality vinyl. But this is called The Little Red Album. $55 start. And it's outtakes from the White Album. That's outtakes from the White Album. Okay, so we have 322 Dan says, I'll take Bowie, new buyer. Thank you. We're going to send a link to our website. If you're a new buyer, thank you and welcome. If anybody new's watching, very easy to buy from us. You don't have to be pre-registered. If you're about to make your first purchase, just go ahead and do it like Dan just did, and we'll give you instructions. But if you're on YouTube, we're going to send you a link to our website. It's a form. You just put your name, your address, and also put your YouTube handle Please put that you're 322 Dan in the messages so we know your real name and we can match it with your YouTube handle. $7 in limited shipping. This is Wednesday night. We're also doing this tomorrow, Thursday. We're also doing a show on Friday, and we're doing a show on Saturday. We do 3 more nights of live streaming, $7 in limited shipping. Also, we have Nielsen. This is VG Plus. Harry Nielsen is VG Plus, $6.99. Is there a Jim Nielsen, or are you misreading my name? Jim Hickson. Jim Hickson got the circle. I don't know what I said earlier, but Jim Hickson got the circle. I said Jim Nielsen. My bad. Speaking of Nielsen, this is so to Gerard Cacciatore. Harry Nielsen, that's so to Gerard Cacciatore. Outlaws, Lady in Waiting, VG Plus condition, $6.99. The Outlaws, Lady in Waiting, $6.99. Chad Everett, All Strung Out. Chad Everett is $6.99. Ooh Child, Stair Steps, the Isley Brothers and Jimi Hendrix and the Impressions. A Pickwick compilation, $6.99. Rick Derringer, Guitars and Women. Rick Derringer is $6.99. Also, Sky Saxon, Destiny's Child, $6.99 for Sky Saxon. This is a 12-inch single from Tana Gardner. That is $6.99. Also, we have Delaney and Friends. I guess there was no Bonnie on that record, just Delaney, $6.99. Another David Sanborn, Close Up, $6.99 for David Sanborn, and another David Sanborn, As We Speak. Both are near mint, $6.99. Chris Kirkley's at 55 on the Beatles, going twice, going 3 times. Let's put up another auction while everybody's thinking about the Beatles. How about some Maynard Ferguson here? Yes, Maynard Ferguson. Check this out. An original 1962 on red vinyl. I'm going to discount this. I found it in the back. It's not a cheap record because it's on red vinyl. No condition notes. There is one visible scuff. It looks like a needle drop that ran all the way across it here. It's definitely a non-feeler, and there's a scuff right here. But very clean red vinyl. Actually, this is from the Wisconsin collection. This is from the Wisconsin collection. He had $100 on it. He said the music is great, the record is near mint, and the sound is near mint. I don't know about the record being near mint because it has a couple scuffs, but he evidently listened to it. And this is how the Wisconsin collection, he documented everything. He wrote that down, it looks like in August of 1999. Maynard is going to be a $15 start. Maynard Ferguson, Maynard 62 on red vinyl. So evidently he sound played it, and he says it sounds near mint. So we'll take his word. The Wisconsin collection was very thorough. That is a $15 start. Dennis Jackson wants Sky, and that was for Sky Saxon. That's sold to Dennis Jackson for $6.99. We had a $55 bid on the Beatles and a $57 bid on the Beatles. All right, so the Beatles have new bids, looking for a $15 start on Maynard Ferguson. Jeff and Masters in. I'm not going to recap that bin. I'm going to go straight into the next one. We'll do a recap of what's left of these first 2 bins. But this bin is also $6.99, and I've got 2 more to do after this. They're all $6.99. Yeah, this guy had about 30,000 albums. No, that's a different collection. This guy had about 10 or 12,000 albums. He had about 12,000 albums. He listened to everything. He documented it. I think he had a notebook where he kept notes on condition. He always upgraded. That's why everything was either near mint or near mint and shrink wrap. He upgraded for 60 years. And his son-in-law actually still has about 10,000 more albums. And he's up there researching them and getting them together where we can come look at them, hopefully before the end of the year, but he said probably it'll be after the first year. So if y'all remember the famous Wisconsin collection, that was part 1. If y'all remember, there was a lot of stuff missing. There was a lot of soul missing. There was a lot of soundtracks missing. There was a lot of really cool stuff that was missing from his collection. It's still up there in Wisconsin, and he's definitely going to give us first dibs. I look forward to getting that call because we're going to immediately fly up there and we're going to make a heck of a deal on another huge lot of records. So it'll be a great situation for both of us because that last collection was not cheap. It was a serious negotiate. Me and him stood in a parking lot for about an hour, and we finally reached an agreement. We stood in the parking lot of the storage unit. Right, Seth? I flew up that morning. I went and looked at them, and I told them, I said, I'm not leaving I'm not heading back to the airport until we have a deal. And then Tyler and Paul will start heading this way to move them. But I'm not leaving. I said, I'm not leaving a collection like this behind. Because he was like, oh, let me think about it. I've got some other people that want to come look at them. You're the first person. I'm like, I'm buying these records or I'm not going back to Tennessee. And we had to negotiate for about an hour. So we reached a deal. I'm glad I did because that was like, I didn't want to leave those behind. Of course, I did. I didn't move them right then, but we had a deal. We had an agreement. And then they went up there immediately. They flew back up there. I guess they drove up there. Yeah, they drove up there and then drove them back. So, okay, Maynard Ferguson 15. The Beatles is at 59. And Maynard Ferguson is at 18. We got new bids on both auctions. More $6.99 records. More $6.99 records. Everything in here is $6.99. We have Gordon Lightfoot, The Summer Side of Life. What a classic song. VG Plus condition, $6.99. Three Dog Night, naturally. No condition notes. It does have a sticker on the cover. No condition notes, Three Dog Night. These are all discounted for $6.99. Charlie Bird, For All We Know, theme from Love Story. That's a 2 LP. EX condition, $6.99. And Chicago 17. EX condition, $16.99. Chicago 17. EX condition, $6.99. And the Pointer Sisters. The Pointer Sisters is $6.99. The Pointer Sisters, $6.99. That's one we don't see as often. That one is called Self-Titled. Self-Titled. No condition notes, about a VG Plus cover. Johnny Winter, Saints and Sinners. Johnny Winter's in VG Plus condition, $6.99. The Eurythmics, Sweet Dreams of Made of This. That's in VG condition, $6.99 on the Eurythmics. And Chad and Jeremy of Cabbage and Kings. Chad and Jeremy's in VG condition, but it's a 67 mono. 67 mono. Jeff McMaster, you're outbid on Maynard Ferguson. Maynard 62 is with Billy Underwood for $18. Doug Tabor has the Beatles for $60. Chris Kirkley, you've been outbid on that. First $6.99 record out of here is to Christopher Morris. Christopher Morris got PS, which was not Gordon Lightfoot, not Three Dog Night, not Charlie Bird, not Chicago. That's the Pointer Sisters. That's sold to Christopher Morris. Craig Ruth got Chicago for $6.99. Leslie was second on the Pointer Sisters. Jetstream got JW, which is Johnny Winter. Rich Shockley got the Eurythmics. Travis Wade, you were second. Chris Bijak third. Craig Ruth fourth. And Christopher Morris fifth. Brian C., you were third on the Pointer Sisters. $6.99 for Emmett Rhodes. VG Plus condition. $6.99 for Emmett Rhodes. Chris Kirkley's back in on the Beatles at 62. The Commodores, Midnight Magic, VG condition, $6.99 for the Commodores. And Steppenwolf for ladies only. Steppenwolf is in VG condition. Steppenwolf for ladies only. That is $6.99. Gatefold, we've got it in a new white inner sleeve, $6.99. Jeff's at 20 on Maynard Ferguson. Kelly Bagwell wants Winter. That was Johnny Winter. That has already been claimed, but Doug Tabor is going to get the Emmett Rhodes. That's $6.99. Also, Jeff McMaster's back in on Maynard at 20, and that means Billy Humphrey, you're outbid. William Warback got Steppenwolf, and Kelly Bagwell, you were second. When I Die, Motherload, promo copy, $6.99, VG condition, Motherload, When I Die. Jerry Lee Lewis sings the Country Music Hall of Fame Hits Volume 1, VG Plus condition, $9.99. Jerry Lee Lewis sings Country Music Hits Hall of Fame Volume 1. Another Johnny Winter, About Blues. That's on the Janus label, VG condition. That's in VG, Johnny Winter, $6.99. We have an Out on the Beatles. Chris Kirkley has that for $62. Doug Tabor's out. Billy Underwood's back in on Maynard Ferguson at $23. We have the Supremes, I Hear a Symphony. That's also $6.99. And Delaney and Bonnie, Home. EX condition, $6.99 for Delaney and Bonnie, Home. EX condition, $6.99. Switch, This Is My Dream. Switch is in EX condition, $9.99. A Look Inside, Joe South. Joe South has never been opened. He's sealed. He does have a punch hole, though. $6.99 for Joe South. And Three Dog Night, American Pastime. That is a white label promo. Three Dog Night, American Pastime, $6.99. Travis Wade is going to get the Supremes. That's sold to Travis Wade for $6.99. Julian gets Jerry Lee Lewis for $6.99. And Doug Tabor wants the Delaney and Bonnie. That is $6.99. The Beatles, I was about to sell it. Fred Carnell, your comment has came in at a very lucky time. The Beatles is at $62 with Chris Kirkley. The Little Red album, outtakes from the White album. Chris Kirkley has that for $62. If you say I'll pass, then it's selling to Chris unless somebody else bids. And Jeff McMaster, you're out on the Maynard Ferguson. Billy Underwood has that for 23. Debbie Blair gets the Three Dog Night. Jetstream wants the Johnny Winter. And William Warback, you were second on Three Dog Night. Fred's in at 63 on the Beatles. Seals and Croft, Sudan Village, that's sealed. It's never been opened. It has a punch hole. Seals and Croft is $6.99. Leo Sayer, Thunder in My Heart. Leo is $6.99. Thunder in My Heart, $6.99. Also Santa Esmeralda, Beauty, $6.99 for Santa Esmeralda. And Lightning Strikes, Lou Christie. Lightning Strikes, Lou Christie, $6.99 for Lou. Arlo Guthrie, $6.99. And I think that one's actually self-titled. Blade, you were third on Three Dog Night. That's Arlo Guthrie, self-titled. Chris Kirkley, you're out on the Beatles. There wasn't another Three Dog Night, was there? No, there wasn't. And Jeff, you're out on Maynard Ferguson. Final Call. Billy Underwood has that for $23. Walt Disney presents A Child's Garden of Verses, another Disney record. That's $6.99. No condition notes on that. Jefferson Starship, Modern Times. Jefferson Starship is $6.99. Also, Jerry Lee Lewis, Original Golden Hits Volume 1. That's in shrink wrap, EX condition, $6.99. Great Balls of Fires on there. Jerry Lee Lewis, $6.99. Chris is back in on the Beatles at 65. Fred Carnell, you're out. And Michelle Miller gets the Disney record. That's sold to Michelle Miller. Also born in the USA, Bruce Springsteen, $6.99 for Bruce Springsteen, born in the USA. That's a 12-inch single. That's a 12-inch single. Fred Carnell gets Jerry Lee Lewis. That's sold to Fred Carnell. And also Jay Ferguson, Thunder Island, one-hit wonder. Sort of. He was in a band called Spirit. I wouldn't call him a one-hit wonder, but that was definitely a big song for him. $6.99. Jetstream, yes, you got the other Johnny Winter, yes. Jeff's out on Maynard Ferguson. Fred's out on the Beatles. Let's sell both of them. The Beatles is sold to Chris Kirkley for $65, the Little Red Album, and Maynard Ferguson is sold to Billy Underwood for $23. That's sold to Billy Underwood. Let me put up two new auctions before I can continue. I have the Beatles West Coast Invasion. This is only going to be a $10 start. It is a official. This label here called Citadelic, they made official Beatles interview recordings. And this is West Coast interviews when the Beatles went over to the West Coast, I think around 1965, 66, 64, 66. Yeah, well, anytime during that period when they were actually out in the public. After 66, after late 66, they really didn't go out in the public anymore. They didn't tour. They didn't do a lot of press conferences. They was just like, we're going to make music. We're going to put it out. You can't talk to us. You can't look at us. We're just going to make music. The Beatles, West Coast Invasion, that's a $10 start. It isn't official, and that's interviews from when they were over around the West Coast. Los Angeles press conference, San Francisco press conference. Also an interview of George, an interview of John and Ringo, and that's a $10 start. That's the Beatles, West Coast Invasion. That's an interview disc, LP, $10 start on that. G.C. Colleton gets the Bruce Springsteen, and Chris Bijak gets the Jay Ferguson. Those are all $6.99. There is the Beatles. Let me go ahead and grab something else over here out of the auction bin. Let's do a copy of, let's see what we have here. Let's do this. Deep Purple Machine Head. This is an 80s pressing. It's not an OG, it's an 80s pressing, but it's very nice. It's in shrink wrap. It's Deep Purple Machine Head. Let's do a $20 start on it. It's in the original Warner Brothers sleeve. It's on that white label. White Warner Brothers label, and I believe it has the lyric. It does. It has the insert/lyric poster that kind of folds out. Highway Star, Smoke on the Water, classic Deep Purple album. $20 start. All right, Ron Duffield said he'll take Starship for $6.99. Everything in here is $6.99. Zoot Sims, If I'm Lucky. Zoot Sims is in shrink wrap, $6.99. Sweet Revival, that's a promo copy. Sweet Revival, $6.99. Rebirth is $6.99. Got a couple of obscurities here. Rebirth is $6.99. That's on the Lefevre sound label. So Sweet Revival and Rebirth. And Fred Neil Sessions, $6.99. Fred Neil Sessions. Elvis Costello, Punch the Clock. VG Condition, $6.99. Rupert Holmes, this has the famous, if you like pina coladas, $6.99 for Rupert Holmes, Partners in Crime. Thelma Houston, Ride to the Rainbow. Thelma is $6.99. And Raggedy Ann, Bend and Stretch. This is a Raggedy Ann and Andy exercise record. It's never been opened. $6.99. Doug Tabor is at $10 on the Beatles West Coast interviews. Going twice, going 3 times. Looking for a $20 start on Deep Purple Machine Head. It's shrink wrapped with the insert. It is a later pressing, but it's nice. Near mint. Looking for a $20 start. Colin Butler put RUP for Rupert Holmes. That's sold to Colin for $6.99. Hot Streets, Chicago. No condition notes. Chicago, $6.99 for Hot Streets. Also, Shiitake with John McLaughlin. That's $6.99. That should sell. And there he is. The Making of the President, 1960. $6.99. Now, I think this was actually out while he was still alive. Which is, you know, there's so many JFK records that were made after he was assassinated. I think this actually came out in 1960, right after he was elected. It's actually a soundtrack. It's a soundtrack. It's not spoken word. I think it's actual music. Round 1. So there is some debates. Yeah, there's the Nixon-Kennedy debates, but I also think there's some music on here. I've listened to it at one point or another. I know I have. I've listened to 300 of these. I don't remember everything about it. But yeah, very interesting. It's a 2 LP and it's a gatefold. Very cool there. All kinds of pictures of Kennedy. So on my holy grail want list of all time is his senator, his campaign poster from when he ran for Senate in Massachusetts. Man, that's on my holy grail of poster want list. Very, very tough to find one of those. When they come up for bid, it's just you gotta be ready. You're gonna be bidding against some serious collectors when those come up. We have William Warback on the Chicago. That's sold to William for $6.99. Chris Bijak on the Shiitake. And Leslie Holt wants the President record. All right, let's sell these auctions. Doug Tabor gets the Beatles for $10. If anybody wants Deep Purple, just a $20 buy it now. So his Massachusetts Senate posters from the 50s they're very tough to find, as you could imagine. His Senate posters from Massachusetts in the 50s. Very difficult to find. $20 buy it now on Deep Purple Machine Head, or anything from when he ran for Senate. Anything early Kennedy, so hard to get. The Barkays, Flying High on Your Love. $6.99 for the Barkays, Flying High on Your Love. $6.99. Blade Singletary on the Deep Purple. That's a $20 buy it now for Blade. And we have Johnny Winter, Jasmine, Night Dreams. Johnny Winter. It does have a braille strip on it. No condition notes, $6.99. Roger C. Real, Radioactive. That is sealed. It's never been opened. Roger C. Real and Rue Morgue. That's sealed for $6.99. And Jay Giles, Monkey Island. Also no condition notes on that one. $6.99. Let's do a Beatles boot. This actually has music on it this time. This is very cool. It's got 4 different Beatles concerts. Philadelphia, 64. There's a few tracks from that Paris 65 concert we sold earlier. Here's a few snippets of it. Tracks A6 through B3. That's 4 tracks, I believe. The Cavern Club from 1962. And then Around the Beatles, which is another BBC recordings, I think from around 64. This is in shrink wrap. This is trademark of quality. Very cool. There's the trademark of quality. $35 start. It's shrink wrap. And of course, that's the cover that they end up using later for the official release of the Beatles at the BBC. That was a press photo they used for the British Broadcasting Corporation. That's a $35 start. That's a vintage trademark of quality bootleg. $35 start on that. Colin Butler takes the Barkays. That's sold to Colin. And that was $6.99. Everything in here is $6.99. Elvis, He Walks Beside Me. Favorite songs of faith and inspiration. $6.99 on Elvis. The Best of Gladys Knight and the Pips. $6.99 for Gladys Knight. Arlo Guthrie, Last of the Brooklyn Cowboys. That's $6.99. Also, the Guess Who, Sown and Grown in Canada. $6.99 for the Guess Who. Arlo Guthrie, Power of Love. That's $6.99. And the South Soul Strings, How Deep Is Your Love? South Soul Strings, $6.99. Carly Simon, Boys in the Trees. That is a white label promo, $6.99 for Carly Simon. And Shame, 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 Shirley and Company. I think that's a comedy record. Maybe. I mean, it has Richard Nixon on the front, so that's immediately what you would think. $6.99, 1975 white label promo. And Jimmy Webb, El Mirage, that's $6.99. The Beatles is at 35. The Beatles is at 35. And did you say another Winter? There is another Johnny Winter in here. And that was right here. This is Johnny Winter, Jasmine Night Dreams, $6.99. Mr. Seth, I may need those next two crates of $6.99. Do you think you could go help us out with doing that? Seth reluctantly has stood up. He's walking to the back. His face is emotionless. He's going to go get our next crates. Thank you, Seth. I am going to do a recap, though. I'm going to combine the last two crates. I'm going to do a recap of what's left, and then we're going to go ahead and show two new ones. So let me do some condensing, and let's do a recap of these for $6.99. First, the Beatles is at 40 with Christopher Morris. Jeff McMaster, You're Out. Blade Singletary wants CS. CS was Carly Simon. And we have Kelly Bagwell says she'll take the Johnny Winter. The Beatles is called, it's actually called self-titled. It was tough for me to find for a while because if you type in the Beatles, it's not really going to narrow down your search results. But it is trademark of quality, 73030, if that helps you out. That's the catalog number from Trademark of Quality, 73030. But what it is, it's live recordings. What happened to my sticky? It was Paris 65, also Paris 65, and what did we have? Here we go. Philadelphia 64, Philadelphia 64, Paris 65, Cavern Club 62, and Around the Beatles, which is that was a BBC show they did called Around the Beatles. Jeff Masters at 42. Sean says Seth is a machine. We just let Seth be. Seth, you having a good night? He said he couldn't be better. How about you, Tanner? Tanner says he don't know. Wow. Oh, he says you know. Okay. Thinking about that wedding, huh? I'm going to walk over here and grab a bottle of water right quick. Big wedding day. Seth, you going to be there? Was you invited? Oh, Seth's in charge of catering for the wedding. Wow. Okay. Well, we're all probably going to be hungry. Cookies. Cookies and Meemaw's casserole. All right. Here we go. Beatles is at 45. That's Edgar, not Johnny Winter. That was an Edgar Winter we had earlier. I need to maybe correct that for Kelly. That was an Edgar Winter, not Johnny Winter. Okay, next auction is Marillion, Misplaced Childhood. Marillion is an original 1985 Jacksonville press, $20 start for Marillion. $20 start, it has the original inner sleeve, it's near mint. Marillion, Misplaced Childhood, and this is a $20 start for Marillion. $20 start on that. Christopher Morris is at 45 on the Beatles. So here's what's left for $6.99, and then I'm going to go through another crate. This is Gordon Lightfoot, The Summer Side of Life, Three Dog Night Naturally, Charlie Bird, Love Story, Chad and Jeremy, The Commodores, Mother Lode, Switch, This Is My Dream, Joe South was sealed, Seals and Croft was sealed, Leo Sayer, Santa Esmeralda, Lou Christie, Arlo Guthrie, Zoot Sims, Sweet Revival, Rebirth, Fred Neal, Elvis Costello, Thelma Houston, Raggedy Ann and Andy, Roger C. Real, Jay Giles, Elvis, Gladys Knight, Arlo Guthrie, The Guess Who, Arlo Guthrie, Sal Soul Strings, Shame, 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 which we have found out Shirley and Company is disco. I guess she's dancing with Richard Nixon, not making fun of him. And there's Jimmy Webb, El Mirage, $6.99. All right, so we have the Beatles is at 45 with Christopher Morris. Jeff, let me know if you want back in. That's a final call, and final call to get a bid in on Marillion. Does anybody want anything else in the $6.99 crate? I'll go through the other $6.99 crate in just a second, but I think if I can condense this one with that one, looks like we've already wiped out a whole bin of $6.99, and guess what? I'm reaching for another one. Heather Feathers at 20 on Marillion. I've started Marillion pretty much a big discount from what we originally had it marked, but somebody can take it home right now. Let's see what we have here. Let me get these slid in the correct way. And Jess back in on the Beatles at 47. Doug's at 46. So we got 3 new bidders now, or 2 new bidders on the Beatles, 2 active bidders. Heather Feather, though, has Marillion for $20, and we are about to sell that. Everything in here is $6.99. $6.99. First, Pee Wee Russell, Ask Me Now, a 1972 press on Impulse. That is just $6.99. Pee Wee Russell, $6.99. Impulse title. Also, Bachman Turner Overdrive, BTO, Head On, No Condition Notes, $6.99. Donovan's Greatest Hits. Also, no condition notes. There's a little bit of cover damage right here, but this has Mellow Yellow, Sunshine Superman, Hurdy Gurdy Man, Jennifer Jupiter, Season of the Witch, Harry Chapin, Verities and Balderdash. This is an album that has Cats in the Cradle on it, $6.99, one of the major hits of his. Spencer Davis Group, Gulugo, Spencer Davis Group, that's $6.99. And the best of the Swingin' Blue Jeans, the Hippie Hippie Shake, the Swingin' Blue Jeans, $6.99. Beatles, 46. Beatles, 47. Doug, you're out. Christopher Morris, you're out. Jeff has it for 47. Going twice, going 3 times. Don is sold to Jack Hewitt. Donovan is sold to Jack Hewitt. And Brian Arrigo put D.O. That might have been for Donovan, but we'll make sure for sure. Heather Feather is going to get a great deal on the Marillion for $20. That is sold to Heather Feather for $20. Let me see what else I have over here in this bin. Let's do the Jimi Hendrix in the West. Jimi Hendrix in the West is a 1972 UK copy. This is Jimi Hendrix in the West. This is going to be a $15 start. It's a gatefold UK copy. It's a gatefold UK copy. About a VG cover. Does have some signs of some shelf wear. A little bit of a split right there in the middle. Just a $15 start. There's no condition notes on the vinyl. It's an extremely nice LP. Near mint minus. A VG cover though. $15 start for Jimi Hendrix in the West. So we have Donovan. Brian was also for Donovan. Christopher is at 49 on the Beatles. So new bid on the Beatles. Kelly will get Spencer Davis Group. Fred asked what Spencer Davis Group. It's sold to Kelly for $6.99. Living Guys by the Bee Gees. That's $6.99. Billy Ocean, Suddenly. That has the hit song Caribbean Queen on it. $6.99 for Billy Ocean. Dinah Ross and the Supremes, Cream of the Crop. Dinah Ross is $6.99. Rockin' on the Airwaves, a half-speed master. That's a compilation from Canada, 1981, just $6.99. How did this not sell earlier? I mean, it's a great compilation. It has Loverboy, it has Bruce Cockburn, it has Rough Trade, Triumphs on here. That is $6.99. Rockin' on the Airwaves. Roberta Flack, First Take. Roberta is a VG copy, $6.99, and that is an OG Richmond press or Presswell. 4-digit, 1841 Broadway, VG condition, $6.99. And Involvement, and that's the John Clemmer Quartets from 1967, just $6.99 for the John Clemmer Quartets, $6.99. All right, Travis Wade gets the Supremes. That is sold to Travis Wade. The Supremes for $6.99. Marco gets the comp. GC was second. Fred Carnell was third. Update on the Beatles. Christopher Morris has this for $49. Doug Tabor, you're out. Jeff McMaster, you're out. The high bid is Christopher Morris at $49. Going twice, going 3 times. No bid on Jimi Hendrix. Final call to get that in for $15, or you can wait for the buy it now. I'm going to mute my mic for 1 second so I can take a drink of water. All right, I'm back. $6.99. First, Doug Tabor wants the Jay Giles. Was there a Jay Giles in here? Jay Giles. There is no Jay Giles, unless you're talking about something earlier. Chris BJ gets the Roberta Flack. Also, Banjo, Joe Maphis. Hi-Fi Holiday for Banjo. That's an early Columbia Harmony. Banjo by Jimmy Mathis, $6.99. Jerry Lee Lewis, Odd Man In. Jerry Lee Lewis, that's $6.99. And this is Skyjammer, Sky, in shrink wrap, $6.99. Glenn Travis Campbell. Glenn Campbell is $6.99. And Pure Prairie League Dance, PPL, Pure Prairie League Dance, $6.99. And the best of Arlo Guthrie is $6.99. Okay, so final call on the Beatles. I probably should be selling that. I'm waiting for Doug and Jeff, though. $49. The Beatles at the BBC, Philly, Paris, and other tracks. Jimi Hendrix is a $15 buy it now. If anybody wants it, Jimi Hendrix is $15. Hendrix in the West, $15 if anybody wants it. Chris B. Jack gets Arlo Guthrie for $6.99. We have Doug out on the Beatles. Jeff is back in, though, at $50. William Warback, you were second on Arlo Guthrie, and Blade Singletary gets Hendricks for $15. Kelly was second. Bachman Turner Overdrive, this is sealed from 1984. Sealed BTO, $6.99. Julius Hemphill, Coon Business, that's a promo in VG Plus condition. That's $6.99. And a little touch of Schmilson in the night. VG copy of Harry Nilsson, $6.99. And also Nat King Cole from the very beginning. Nat King Cole's in VG Plus condition, $6.99. Sean Holford's going to get the sealed BTO. Blade was second. Mike Cochran was third. And Little Steven, Voice of America, $6.99. So Christopher Morris, you're outbid on the Beatles now. Jeff's back in at $6.99. Christopher Morris is back in at $52. Jeff, you're out. Let me go over here and see what else I have in this auction bin. If I were to read the titles, there would be a lot of requests. But let me see. Here we go. This looks very nice. This is a very clean-looking copy of U2's October. Let's put this up for a $20 start. U2 October. First track is Gloria. I Fall Down. I Throw a Brick Through a Window. October, Tomorrow. Very clean copy. October. U2. This is going to be a $20 start. Very clean. $20 start on that. Sherry Darnell gets the Nat King Cole. That's sold to Sherry for $6.99. Also, we have Arlo Guthrie with Shenandoah, Outlasting the Blues. Arlo Guthrie is $6.99. Wishbone Ash, there's the rub. $6.99 for Wishbone. Jeff McMaster's at $55 on the Beatles. Christopher Morris, you're out. Skipworth and Turner. $6.99 for Skipworth and Turner. Also, Corey Hart, Boy in the Box. Corey Hart is $6.99. And No Curb Service anymore. Pine Island, $6.99. No curb service anymore. And Drag City, Jan and Dean, VG Plus condition, $6.99. Scandal, Warrior featuring Patty Smythe. That is $6.99 for Warrior featuring Patty Smythe. And Jackson Brown, Lives in the Balance, $6.99. Jackson Brown, Lives in the Balance. Let me do a camera adjustment here. See if that's any better. Okay, Beatles at $55. We have Fred Carnell on Wishbone Ash. That is sold to Fred Carnell. And we have Webster Vance on the Billy Ocean from earlier. Terry Schneider on Jan and Dean. Jan and Dean to Terry Schneider. Jetstream on Jackson Brown. And Chris Frazier's at 20 on U2. Okay, I'm back on. Waffle House, Seth? Sleep. You only get one chance at life. Why sleep it away? We have, my mic is back on. Chris was at 20 on U2. Out on Beatles. Christopher says he's out. Okay, thank you for letting me know. Then my sound went out. And then we have mic is out, sound, no sound, mic, sound, sound, no audio, no sound, no sound, no sound, no sound, mic, Chad, recap last three, and a thumbs up. The last three was Warrior, Scandal featuring Patty Smythe, $6.99. Simple Pleasures, Bobby McFerrin, $6.99. And the Doobie Brothers, One Step Closer, $6.99. Record Store Day Sampler from 2010. Record Store Day Sampler from 2010, $6.99. The Beatles is sold to Jeff McMaster for $55, and U2 is sold to Chris Frazier for $20. I've got more Beatles. This one's called, let's see what we have here. I think this thing is sealed. Yeah, let me do this one. This is limited edition, 500 copies on red vinyl, The Beatles, Greatest Hits 62 to 65, featuring rare studio takes, unpublished BBC sessions, and unreleased live broadcast. That is sealed, red vinyl, $25 start on the Beatles. Limited edition, 500 copies on red vinyl, and that is rare studio takes, unpublished BBC sessions, and unreleased live broadcast, $25 start on that. Original studio recordings, BBC 63, Blackpool 64, Miami 64, Blackpool 65. That is sealed, 500 pressed red vinyl, $25 start. The Beatles, 62 to 65. The Record Store Day is sold to Jeff McMaster, Debbie 2nd, Shakedown 3rd, GC 4th, Craig 5th, Fred Carnell 6th, Brian 7th. Wow. Jeff was first, $6.99. West Side Story, the West Side Story soundtrack, $6.99. That's one of the originals on the Columbia Masterworks label. John Ellis is at $25 on the Beatles. Hair, the American Tribal Love Rock musical, another classic, $6.99. Hair, and we have Exodus. Exodus is $6.99. Another soundtrack, original soundtrack from the film Exodus by Ernest Gold, RCA Victor, $6.99 on Exodus. And another soundtrack, Born Free, original soundtrack recording to Born Free, MGM Records, $6.99 for Born Free. And John Stewart, Bombs Away Dream Babies, EX Condition, $6.99. All right, the Beatles, 25-26. Michelle Miller put WSS, which is West Side Story. That's sold to Michelle Miller for $6.99. The Beatles is at 28. We had Chris Ferrara on U2. I'm not for sure what I said earlier, Tanner, but I may have said Chris Frazier. Chris Ferrara on YouTube. You got it for $20. Ron Duffield on Record Store Day. That was Make You number 8. Wow, a lot of people wanted that one. Christopher Smith on the McFerrin, and we have a new buyer. Thank you for letting me know. And because I think we have another Christopher Smith or something very close to that. So Christopher, thank you. If you've heard before, please make sure you contact our Facebook page. This is sold to you, $6.99. We do $7 in limited shipping, which starts on Monday. That starts the official cycle for $7 in limited shipping. And that's anything you buy here live and also in our group, which our group is kind of like our website because that's where I post all of our pre-orders. Any kind of flip crates, discount bins that I post in there, or pre-orders, anything that come in or is sold in the group also is included in that $7. So make sure you're in our private group. Anytime you see me post a pre-order or a flip crate, you can buy in there, and whenever that stuff is ready, it will go on that current invoice. The cycle stops on Saturday night when the show's over for the week to end, and then we invoice on Mondays. He's already messaged the page. Jetstream on EX. EX was Exodus. That's $6.99. Fred Carnell's at $30 on the Beatles, and Terry Schneider wants Hair. So I didn't know a lot about this until it was referenced in Seinfeld. I've been rewatching Seinfeld for the billionth time, but I've been watching it with subtitles. And they talk about stuff in Seinfeld all the time, pop culture references, and they talked about Hair, and somebody went to see it, and then Jerry was like, did they still do all the nudity? And then I had to look it up. I didn't know what he was talking about, and of course I didn't realize Hair was such an exotic play. I guess evidently there's a lot of crazy stuff that goes on in it. So I wasn't too familiar, but I got on Wikipedia and I was reading about how I guess it was banned at some point maybe. Sign On, the original soundtrack recording to Sign On maybe. That is by Neil Hefti. That is $6.99 soundtrack. Three Dog Night, captured live, VG Plus $6.99. And Pete Townsend, Who Came First. This is Pete Townsend's first solo album from 1970. EX Condition, $6.99. Peter Townsend, Who Came First. Also, The Crazy World of Arthur Brown. VG Minus Condition, $6.99. I am the God of Hellfire, and I bring you fire. That's Arthur Brown, $6.99. Billy Joel, The Nylon Curtain. That's in VG Plus Condition, $6.99. And we have the Marx Brothers box sets. Over almost 4 hours of Marx Brothers for just $6.99 on 4 LPs. We have Jim Gray on 10, and I think he meant 3. 3 Dog Night, maybe. Jim Gray, let me know if that's correct. You put 10, but I think that was for 3 Dog Night. Also, Virgil's at 10, SB, AB, and I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. SB10, AB10. Everything in this crate is $6.99. I'm not for sure what the 10 means, but everything in this bin is $6.99. So I think Virgil wants Arthur Brown for $6.99, I think. And Doug Tabor gets the Pete Townsend for $6.99. Virgil was second. Arthur, or, oh man, I'm really confused now. Let me make sure. Okay, so Jim Gray did want 3 Dog Night. That's so to Jim Gray. Then I think Virgil is going to get the Arthur Brown. And then Doug Tabor got Pete Townsend. And then Doug Tabor was second on Arthur Brown. Steve was third on Arthur Brown. Michelle Miller gets the Marx Brothers box set. Brian was second. Christopher Smith third. And we have Chris Farrar, fourth. Okay, John McLaughlin with the One Truth Band, Electric Dreams. John McLaughlin is an EX edition, $6.99. And the Beatles, the high bid on the Beatles, it's sealed. That's the limited edition, 500 copies on red vinyl, greatest hits, which is rare studio tracks, unpublished BBC, and live broadcast. That's at $30 with Fred Carnell. That's about to be sold. And just to clarify, Jim Gray got Three Dog Night, Virgil Caine got Arthur Brown, Doug Tabor got Pete Townsend. And then so Virgil got Arthur Brown, Doug was second, Steve was third, and Ron Duffield was fourth. The Beatles is at 33. Back to the $6.99 records. Elton John, Rock of the Westies, VG Plus, $6.99. Everything in this bin is discounted to $6.99, and that is the price. Lou Reed, Rock and Roll Heart, VG Plus condition for Lou Reed, $6.99. Jetstream gets Elton John. We also have Willie Nelson Stardust. Willie Nelson is an EX condition, $6.99 for Willie Nelson. Gary and the Pacemaker's Greatest Hits, that's EX condition for $6.99. David Johansen, or however you say his last name, that's VG Plus for $6.99. And Joe Thomas, Get in the Wind. Joe Thomas, VG condition, $6.99. Jetstream got Elton John. Christopher Morris was second. Fred Carnell's backing on the Beatles at 35. And Dave Deckenberger wants W for Willie Nelson. I'm not going to recap this bin until later. I'm going to go ahead and go in straight to a new one. New records, one after another. First, though, we have a claim for Doug Tabor on Lou Reed. That was a great deal on that. That's so did Doug Tabor. If you were waiting for me to get back to something in that crate, just go ahead and ask me again. It's right here behind me. But first, I'm going to very painfully pick up this other crate of records. I told y'all my legs would sound like I would be old man sounds, but I'm trying not to get in any kind of squatting positions or it feels like my legs are ripping in half. I think we're good. Let me make sure I'm putting this in here the wrong way. All right, so everything in here continues for $6.99. And guess what? There's a whole nother crate after this. They just keep rolling. $6.99. I emptied out like, let's see, well, I filled up about 9 crates of stuff last night, and I think we've gone through almost all of it. So they're still bidding on the Beatles. Let me go ahead and step over here and try to find another auction out of this other auction bin. We've sold several out of here. Let's do the Janis Joplin. This does have a barcode on the back, but it's a very nice copy. It's Pearl, Janis Joplin. So it's probably a little bit later, late 70s, early 80s pressings of Pearl. But, of course, this is a classic. Janis Joplin, the vinyl is super nice. You're going to be very happy with this one. JJ is a $20 start. Has Move Over on it, Cry Baby, Me and Bobby McGinn, Mercedes-Benz. That's a $20 start, Janis Joplin. The Beatles is at 36, 37, 39, and 40. John Ellis is out. Everything in here is $6.99. First, we have the Winter Consort Road. The Winter Consort, that's $6.99. Also, The Secret Life of Harper's Bazaar, $6.99 for Harper's Bazaar. Country Joe McDonald, On My Own. Country Joe McDonald, $6.99. Derringer, that's Rick Derringer, $6.99. Old Time Country Music Collection, Grandpa Jones, 2 LPs, $6.99. Olivia Newton-John, Totally Hot, that's also $6.99. Has the original winter sleeve with it. Olivia Newton-John, $6.99. Christopher Morris on HB. HB is Harper's Bazaar. That's so to Christopher Morris. Brian C. wants the Rick Derringer. That's so to Brian C. Final call on the Beatles for $40. And final call to get a bid in on Janis Joplin for $20. Linda Ronstadt, what's new? $6.99 for Linda Ronstadt and Neil Young Reactor. No condition notes, just $6.99 on Mr. Neil. Original winter sleeve, $6.99 on that one. Neil Young, the best of Morgana King. That's on the Mainstream label. Morgana King, $6.99. Mainstream, $6.99. Stone Jazz, that is the Stones Jazz by Joe Pass, $6.99. That's in shrink wrap on the World Pacific Jazz label. Cat Stevens, Teaser and the Fire Cat, also no condition notes on that. Gatefold, Cat Stevens, $6.99 for Cat. Cat Stevens. Mary Martin in The Sound of Music. That's Mary Martin, The Sound of Music, $6.99. $6.99. Okay, we have Christopher Morris on Pass. That is sold to Christopher Morris. Scott Sneed was second. These are $6.99. And Jay McShaw, the last of the Blue Devils, $6.99 for Jay McShaw. Virgil Kane is going to get the Cat Stevens. Sherry's at 20 on Janis Joplin. Let's go ahead and make that a final call, and let's go ahead and sell the Beatles to Fred Carnell for $40. So Sherry, you locked in a bid there at the last second. That's going twice, going 3 times to Sherry Darnell. Let me go ahead and run another Beatles, and this one's called Commonwealth. This is the famous Get Back and Let It Be sessions. 1987, red vinyl 2LP. 1969, the Get Back and Let It Be sessions. $35 start for the Get Back and Let It Be sessions. It's on red, orange, marbled vinyl, Shogun label. $35 start. It's on 2 LPs, colored red vinyl. As y'all know, the red vinyl on bootlegs always demand a little bit more money, but this is called Commonwealth, and that's those very famous Get Back and Let It Be sessions. $35 start on that. That's up for bid. So we got Virgil Kane got the Cat Stevens for $6.99. Jetstream wants Jay for Jay McShawn. That's sold to Jetstream for $6.99. And Brian was the first to bid on the Beatles at $35. So Brian's in at $35 on that. Virgil's at $40. Let's go ahead and sell Sherry Darnell. Janis Joplin for $20. That's sold to Sherry Darnell for $20. And I have a interesting record here. This is Steely Dan's Countdown to Ecstasy. It's a very clean copy. The cover is about VG. It does have one little seam split right up here. This is Steely Dan, Countdown to Ecstasy. Original ABC Records. And John had a note, first label, very clean copy. Their second album, Countdown to Ecstasy. Amazing music, of course. Steely Dan, $20 start on that. Steely Dan, Countdown to Ecstasy. $20 start. That's the original first label for that album. Lots of bids on the Beatles. 35, 40, 40, 42. All these in here are $6.99. First, we have Outlaws, Lady in Waiting, $6.99 for the Outlaws. The New Colony 6, Revelations, $6.99 for the New Colony 6. The Pointer Sisters, Priority, that Pointer Sisters is $6.99. Also, the Beach Boys in Concert. The Beach Boys in Concert, $6.99. The Game of Love, Wayne Fontana. Wayne Fontana on the original blue Fontana label. The Game of Love, $6.99. KC and the Sunshine Band. No condition notes on this. $6.99 for KC and the Sunshine Band. And Saturday Night Live does have an original where somebody wrote $2.99 on the cover. Now it's $6.99. Dan Aykroyd, John Belushi, Chevy Chase. That is $6.99. The Beatles is at $50 with Virgil Kane. He's the high bidder, looking for a $20 start on Steely Dan. Vicki Allison first on KC and the Sunshine Band. Terry Schneider on Wayne Fontana. Jack Hewitt on Saturday Night Live. Nick Bargeron was second. Those are all 3 sold. The Stuntman, original motion picture soundtrack. The Stuntman, that is $6.99 for The Stuntman. Steve Winwood, Back in the High Life. $6.99 for Steve Winwood and David Crosby and Graham Nash. David Crosby and Graham Nash, $6.99. One of their studio albums, no condition notes. Jimmy Witherspoon at the Monterey Jazz Festival. $6.99 for Jimmy Witherspoon at the Monterey Jazz. And Theme from E.T. That's a maxi single by Ego. E-G-O. Or Ego, I think. $6.99. And Steve Winwood, Ark of a Diver. Steve Winwood, Ark of a Diver. Another Steve Winwood, original inner sleeve, $6.99. Now, this Steve Winwood was already claimed by Corey Gaston. Corey Gaston got that Steve Winwood. Boone Tar, you were third on Saturday Night Live. Jane Fink second on Steve Winwood. Jetstream third. William Warback wants CN for Crosby and Nash. And Corey Gaston got this Steve Winwood as well. So that is sold to William Warback. And then this Steve Winwood is sold to Corey Gaston. Jetstream, you were second. Final call on the Beatles. If anybody wants to bid, let me know. Or let me know you're out, please. Brian, you're out. Christopher, you're out. Virgil Kane's at $50. That's a final call. And Steely Dan, final call to lock in a bid before I make that a $20 buy it now. Jim Weatherly. Jim Weatherly is $6.99. Also, Sister Sledge, We Are Family. Sister Sledge, $6.99. We have Jason and Star Short. New bid on the Beatles for $52. New bid on the Beatles for $52. This is Gene Autry. You Are My Sunshine. This is $6.99. Gene Autry, You Are My Sunshine, and other great hits. And Dean Martin, that's a 2LP, $6.99. Dean Martin, that's on Pickwick, 2LP, $6.99. Albion Doo-Wah by Cat Mother, $6.99. Albion Doo-Wah, Cat Mother, and the All Night Newsboys. Red Polydor label, that is $6.99. And Billy Joe Royal, the Royal Treatment, $6.99 for Billy Joe Royal. Christopher's out on the Beatles. Virgil, you're also out on the Beatles. Let me know if you want back in. Nick Bargeron wants the Dean Martin. And Michelle Miller, you were second. Cat Stevens, very young and early songs. Cat Stevens is $6.99. Cat Stevens, that is $6.99 for Cat Stevens. $6.99. Oh, let me get that, if I can get it back in the sleeve. $6.99 for Cat Stevens, very early and young songs, very clean copy. That is what it is. It's very early songs by Cat Stevens. Lloyd Price, the ABC collection, and that is sealed, 1976, $6.99. Virgil's back in on the Beatles at 50. If anybody wants Steely Dan, it's a $20 buy it now. Countdown to Ecstasy. That's what we originally had it marked because it's such a clean copy. Countdown to Ecstasy, just a $20 buy it now. If anybody wants that, $20 buy it now on that. Okay, we have Virgil Kane at 55. Christopher Morris is at CS, and that's for Cat Stevens, $6.99. Tanner, that's $6.99. $20 buy it now on Steely Dan. That is sold to Jim Gray for $20. That's sold to Jim Gray. Bill Medley, 100%, $6.99 for Bill Medley, 100%. That's on the yellow promo title. What's the bootleg Beatles title? This is called the Beatles Commonwealth. Virgil Kane, you're the high bidder at $55. Commonwealth, 2LP, red vinyl. It is Sessions, the Get Back, and the Let It Be Sessions. That's at $55. Everybody else that was bidding is out. That's now going once, going twice. Oh, I never did show this. I've only got one copy. I meant to show it so we could get a waiting list. I've only got one copy. Kiss, Alive. This is a surprise restock. I had it laying over here all night. I forgot about it. Kiss Alive, the Millennium Concert, $54.99. $54.99. $54.99 for Kiss Alive, the Millennium Concert. I only got one copy. That's coming back into print, evidently. So I was going to show that one and take a waiting list. So I forgot to show that. That was Christopher Smith for Cat Stevens, not me. Christopher Smith got Cat Stevens. He did. Christopher Smith, not Christopher Morris on the Cat Stevens. Tanner's already got it corrected. All right, so final call. Virgil has the Beatles for $55. Edgar Winter's White Trash, $6.99. Joe Beck, Watch the Time. Joe Beck is $6.99. Herb Albert Rise, there's some good music on that. Herb Albert Rise, $6.99 for Herb Albert Rise. And we have Big Joe Williams, that's on the Archive of Folk Music. Big Joe Williams, $6.99. Johnny Nash, My Merry-Go-Round. Johnny Nash is $6.99. And Crazy Water Barn Dance, Snuffy Jenkins and Poppy Cheryl. That is $6.99. Clay Moore is going to take the Kiss Millennium Concert. That was $54.99. If anybody else wants one, let me know. Fred Carnell on EW, and EW was for Edgar Winter. Now, there was somebody new that was bidding on the Beatles, Jason and Star Short. If you're done bidding, please let me know you're out, and I'm going to go ahead and sell that to Virgil for $55. We have Dobie Gray, Midnight Diamond. $6.99 for Dobie Gray, Midnight Diamond. And it's Howdy Doody Time. $6.99 for Howdy Doody Time. Lee Ritenour, Earth Run. $6.99 for Lee Ritenour. And Orleans featuring John Hall. $6.99. Lee Oscar, that is sealed. No, it's in shrink wrap. And Lee Oscar was a member of the band War. This is in shrink wrap. $6.99. Chris Farrar wants Herb Albert Rise. That's sold to Chris Farrar. Herb Albert Rise, and the Mamas and Papas, People Like Us. The Mamas and Papas is $6.99. People Like Us. Denise Williams is $6.99. Also Denise Williams, Denise, those are both full albums, $6.99. Eli Reed, Paperboy, that's from 2010. It's sealed and it's never been opened, $6.99. Okay, well, I never did hear anybody else on the Beatles, so we're going to sell that to Virgil Kane for $55. The next Beatles is called It's All Too Much. It's All Too Much, the Beatles. This is unreleased volume 1, it says. And this is an Australian vintage bootleg of unreleased and rare tracks. Near mint minus, $35 start. And this is the Beatles. It's All Too Much, unreleased and rare tracks, $35 start. Vintage bootleg from the Beatles, unreleased and rare tracks, $35 start. It's All Too Much. Very cool cover on that one. $35 start. Colin Butler wants Reed, Eli Reed. That's sold to, not Colin Butler. don't know where I came up with that. Rudder Butter. It kind of rhymes with Colin Butler. Rudder Butter. That's sold for $6.99, Tanner, to Rudder Butter. Also, Get It Together, a collection of the best rock music by the best performers that comprise the heart of the new rock movement. $6.99. So are these original recordings? I guess it is. $6.99, yeah. Get It Together, $6.99. It's a compilation, 2 LP, $6.99. And Chase, Inya, Chase, yellow label, $6.99 for Chase, and that's a UK copy of that, $6.99. Jackie Williams wants Get It Together. That's so did Jackie Reynolds. Terry was second. Heather Feather wants the Lee Oscar. And Brian Arrigo is third on the compilation. The Beatles, It's All Too Much, unreleased in live tracks or unreleased in rare tracks. We're looking for a $35 start. Also, Dwight David Eisenhower, sealed from 1969. That is a $6.99. Amazing Rhythm Aces, stacked deck. Amazing Rhythm Aces, EX condition, $6.99. Buffalo Springfield, just VG condition, or it's only $6.99. It's at VG condition. It's on the first label, $6.99. Buffalo Springfield, the first label, which is this one right here. It's the purple and the yellow. Atco label, $6.99. Last comment I seen was Brian Arrigo on the comp. We also have Pure Prairie League, Just Fly, $6.99. Also, Manfred Mann's Earth Band, The Good Earth, that's $6.99. And Back in Beans Bag, Coleman Hawkins and Clark Terry, that's also $6.99. Okay, Brian Arrigo, comp. Kelly Bagwell wants Buffalo Springfield. That's so to Kelly Bagwell. Terry Schneider was second. And let's make the Beatles a buy it now for $35. If anybody wants the Beatles, It's All Too Much, unreleased and rare tracks, volume 1. That's a $35 buy it now. $35 buy it now on that. Terry Schneider was putting Mann. Did I already pull that? Manfred Mann. So Kelly got Buffalo Springfield. Terry was second, but Terry's first on Manfred Mann. Corey Gaston gets the Chase. That is sold to Corey Gaston for $6.99, and Doug Tabors is going to get a buy it now on the Beatles for $35. Buy it now on the Beatles for $35. Okay, this is sealed. It's numbered on blue vinyl. The Beatles, British Broadcasting Corporation, or as they've renamed it, the Beatles Broadcasting Corporation, the BBC, the Beatles Broadcasting Corporation, and this was December 7th, 1963. This is on London Calling. Now, I've had bootlegs, newer bootlegs on this label. Actually, one of my distributors carry them. They're limited edition. They're hand numbered. They're always sourced really well. It's got a lot of tracks on here. 24 tracks from the BBC. That's a $35 start, and it's sealed. So there's another Beatles, $35 start. That is the sealed, the Beatles Broadcasting Corporation. Julian wants Big Joe Williams. I'm about to recap what's left in here. Big Joe Williams is $6.99. Let me find that, and I will show you what's left in here. And then I have a whole nother crate. That's so to Julian. Seth, you just got here. Wow. Seth just walked right out the door without my permission. What kind of a guy is that? He's not a team player. Not a team player. He just shows up and leaves. Oh my gosh. We got to get the firing back. We got to get that back going again. I got to get the firing going so we can show the stickers. I hadn't shown stickers. I was letting the stickers simmer down, and then I'm going to bring them back with a vengeance, okay? We do have Coletco stickers. I know we have a lot of new people. We do have Coletco stickers, and I'm probably one night this week, maybe even tomorrow, I'll bring them out, and we're going to probably sell a bunch of stickers. Every once in a while, they'll show up randomly in your packages, but we do that on very rare occasions. Make people pay for staying up late, auction the Neil Young autograph. Not happening. We don't have the letters of authenticity back. They're authentic. We've had them authenticated. We're just waiting for the letters to come in the mail. So, from JSA. They got to be notarized, signed, all that. The Beatles, 35 and now 40 with Christopher Morris. Here's what's left in this $6.99 bin. $6.99 bin. Mark Fallon, hope you're putting back, hope you got a savings account saved up for the Neil Young autographs. Hope you've went to your local bank branch and done that. What was the condition of the bootleg Beatles? Jason, that has already sold. That has already sold. Okay, we have, here's what's left, and this being a $6.99. The Winter Consort, Road. These are all $6.99. Country Joe McDonald, On My Own. Grandpa Jones, Old Time Country Music Collection, Olivia Newton-John. Linda Ronstadt, Neil Young Reactor. The Best of Morgana King. Mary Martin, Outlaws Lady in Waiting. New Colony 6. The Pointer Sisters. Beach Boys Concert. The Stuntman. Jimmy Witherspoon. Theme from E.T., Maxi Single by Ego. Jim Weatherly. Sister Sledge. Gene Autry. Albion Doo-Wah by Cat Mother. Billy Joe Royal. Lloyd Price. Bill Medley. Joe Beck. Johnny Nash. Crazy Winter Barn Dance. Dobie Gray. It's Howdy Doody Time. Lee Ritenour. Orleans. Mamas and Papas. Denise Williams. The President and the General. Eisenhower. Sealed. Spoken Word Record. Amazing Rhythm Aces. Pure Prairie League. And Back in Bean's Bag. Coleman Hawkins and Clark Terry. How many more $6.99 bins to go? Well, tonight there's one more to go. I could do this for hours. If I had them all sorted the way I want them, we could show $6.99 bins for hours and hours. I could show $9.99 bins for hours and hours, which is what we do anyway every night right here. Right, Tanner? We do that anyway. We have a lifetime unlimited supply of albums that's never been shown before, including this next crate that I'm bringing up right now. It is 11 o'clock, but we lost almost an hour with the bad feed. Let me know where you're watching from. I'm curious how many people's actually going to comment, because I'm showing we still got 150 people watching on a Wednesday night. But I have found out a lot of people like to put on my voice just to fall asleep at night. So I think we have a bunch of ghost watchers sometimes. You know, it's showing 159. It's going up. 159 viewers, 11:02 Central Time. It's midnight on the East Coast, but I guarantee some people probably have their phone like on their nightstand, and they're just listening to me softly read off these million titles and put them to sleep with evidently my soothing voice. I've been told now for years, Chad, you can put me to sleep. And I'm like, well, I don't know if that's a good thing, or I think as a salesman, to me, that's a bad thing. But also, I guess that's why maybe is it like a hypnotizing or something, right? My dogs fall asleep listening to you every night. I'm the dog whisperer as well. Chad the dog whisperer. The legend grows. What are you eating over there, Tanner? A peanut butter and jelly sandwich? Yeah. That's going to ruin your Waffle House appetite. No? Okay. I'm very hungry. We're getting near the tail end of the show. I'm going to keep going through. I'm going to start going through more $6.99 records. I'm probably going to do some kind of recap. We didn't have any new stuff tonight, any new vintage. There was no new vintage tonight. We have made a whole show out of just doing these discount bins, and we have sold a lot, and we're about to sell a lot more, hopefully. Everything in here is $6.99. Let's do an update on these auctions, though. Way back up to the top, we have the Beatles at 41. Christopher Morris was at 43. Christopher Morris is at 43. The $1 sale is this weekend. This weekend. Like I said, next weekend, Tanner's getting married. We're going to kind of be here, but not really. It's going to be different, okay? We'll have to take that night by night. I don't want to get anybody too confused. Right now, we're live tomorrow, we're live Friday, and we're live Saturday, and we're also having an in-store sale Friday and Saturday, this sale. So we still got 3 more live streams to go this week, and we're having an in-store sale Friday and Saturday. Next week is going to begin some of our Black Friday and Christmas sales. It's already time. Black Friday is here. All of the stuff for that we're going to plan on doing, it will begin early next week. Hope everybody's ready. Okay, sorry for the delay. We have California, Pennsylvania, Chicago, Delaware, Georgia, North Carolina, California, Colorado, Kentucky, Chicago, D.C., the capital, Kentucky, Louisville, Maryland, Indianapolis, Canada, Minnesota, Murfreesboro, that's just right down the road from us, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Seattle, that's way up there, Las Casas, that's not too far from here. Texas, North Carolina, Texas. Also, we have Naples below a Marriott sign. Go figure. Jefferson, Naples. We have, is this an ASMR channel? That's what evidently it's turning into. The Beatles is at 45 with Fred Carnell. Fred Carnell's at 45 on the Beatles. Christopher's right back in at 50. Also, do you have the Doors live in Miami? 69. Not to my knowledge. Albany with G.C. Colleton, Southern California. And we have Rudder Butter is watching in Texas. All right, let's get started on this $6.99. We have the Beatles. The Beatles is at $50 of Christopher Morris. $6.99. The Beach Boys Love You. No condition notes. These are all $6.99. The Beach Boys Love You. Rita Coolidge, Anytime, Anywhere. $6.99 for Rita Coolidge. Also, The Kinks, Misfits. No condition notes. There's some great records so far in here for just $6.99. Buddy Holly. This is a German compilation of hits from Music for Pleasure. $6.99. Kebletrick, something like that. $6.99. We also have Stan Clark, Children of Forever. That's really cool. Stanley Clark with Chick Corea. That's just $6.99 on the red Polydor label. $6.99. Nick Bargeron, first on the Kinks. Scratch that. Brian Arrigo was first. Brian Arrigo gets the Kinks for $6.99. The Beatles is at $50 with Christopher Morris, Fred Carnell. You've been outbid. Let me know if you want to bid more than $50. Christopher Morris has that. Chris Bijak gets the Stanley Clark. Jetstream was second. We have Joe South, Games People Play, $6.99 on Joe South. And Zubin Mehta with the Star Wars and Close Encounters remixes, $6.99. Zubin Mehta. Also, the Well-Tempered Synthesizer by Walter Carlos. That's $6.99. That's some cool listening. And there's another Steve Winwood. That's self-titled Winwood, $6.99. We only got 2 viewers in Florida? I find that hard to believe. Well, and also, like I said, we got a bunch of ghost viewers because there's about 50 people there who commented their location, maybe more. And it says we have 150 people watching, which I believe we do, but some people watch in the shadows, okay? They just they're silent observers. We have Dawn, $6.99, or they probably don't want to let people know where they're watching at, but which is okay. Tune Weaving, Dawn featuring Tony Orlando, $6.99. Roll With It, Steve Winwood. That's a 12-inch single, also with the Morning Side, $6.99. Traffic, Low Spark of High Heeled Boys, $6.99 for Traffic. Low Spark of High Heeled Boys, $6.99. And Elvis Sings for Children, $6.99. Elvis Sings for Children, $6.99. Jack Hewitt wants the Steve Winwood, Roll With It. Did no one else claim the other one? I guess not. So Jack got that one, and Jane Fink, you're next on Steve Winwood, so you can have that one. Or you can have the other one, which you can't because it's sold. Never mind. Dead Stars, Break the Tide. That's from 2009 on red vinyl. Dead Stars, Break the Tide on red vinyl, $6.99. Elvis, His Songs of Inspiration, $6.99. Hair. This one's actually in shrink wrap with the Grammy Award winner sticker. Hair is $6.99. Jeff and Master on Dead Stars. And before that, Fred Carnell got the Traffic album. Let's also go ahead and sell the Beatles. This is sold for $50 to Christopher Morris, and that is the Beatles Broadcasting Corporation. That's sold to Christopher for $50. And we have Fred Carnell second on Dead Stars. Jeff was first. Blade Singletary is going to get the Hair, $6.99. Willie Nelson, Family Bible, $6.99. And the Beach Boys, $69 is $6.99. John Harford, a $69 OG Indianapolis press. John Harford, $6.99. Where's those last 2 Beatles records? Here they are. The Beatles, this is called Not a Second Time, and this is more interview disc, or this is more interviews. 1986 is when this was made. It's in shrink wrap. It's on that Citadelic label. This is an official release. But what it said on Discogs is these pictures of the Beatles walking in Central Park had never been released before until it was pressed on this bootleg. I thought that was really neat. These pictures of the Beatles in Central Park had never been released, I guess, anywhere, which I was trying to figure that out, except on the back of this jacket. And this is interviews, $15 start. It's in shrink wrap. It is near mint, $15 start. But if you look that up, it says unreleased pictures of the Beatles in Central Park on the back of the jacket. $15 start on that. We have Corey Gaston got the Willie Nelson Family Bible. That's $6.99. Doug Tabor on the John Harford. That is sold to Doug Tabor. Julian wants WN. That was Willie Nelson. So, Julian, you were second. And we have Corey Gaston said cancel that. So, give Julian the Willie Nelson. So, the first record there to Julian. Doug got John Harford. And Jeff Master on the Beatles for $15. Can I get the Coleman Hawkins from the last bin back in Bean's bag? You can. It's right here behind me. This is sold to David Hoy for $6.99. Jeff's at $15 on the Beatles. We have Gary Lewis and the Playboys, Rhythm of the Rain, Hayride. Rhythm of the Rain, Hayride. $6.99 for Gary Lewis. Don't see that one as often. Buddy Morrow, Night Trains Goes to Hollywood. $6.99. That's on the early Mercury label. Night Train Goes to Hollywood. $6.99. Final Call on the Beatles. Jeff has that for $15. And Glorified, Magnified, Manfred Mann's Earth Band. $6.99. Glorified, Magnified, Manfred Mann's Earth Band. We have for $6.99 the 10-wheel drive, TWD 10-wheel drive. Christopher Morris on GL Gary Lewis. That's sold to Christopher Morris, $6.99. And Swingin' Transfixation Teens. Sorry, that's a lot to get out. It's a 1989 pressing with the poster. Swingin' Transfixation Teens. So the name of the artist is Swingin' Teens, and the name of the album is Transfixation. $6.99. Terry Schneider on Manfred Mann. That's sold to Terry. And new bid on the Beatles. Doug's at $16. Let me see what else I got in my other bin. Let me start pulling out some of these. It's $19.99 that I know for sure. And I'll just start showing them kind of randomly, a couple handfuls at a time. Let's do that because I think y'all are going to like these for $19.99. Let me go ahead and start pulling them out. And I'm going to change it up on a little bit. But I think I've pulled enough out of the auctions. I can sort through these easier enough now. So let me do this. And let me do a whole handful here. So big price change, but these are really good titles, and these are $19.99. Okay, I'm going to kind of just lay them out. They're all first come, first serve. Doug Tabor's at $16 on the Beatles, Jeff McMaster out. So let's take a pause for the $6.99 stuff. These are $19.99. The first is The Who, Who's Next. It's about a VG or VG minus cover, but it's on the original Decca label, and it's very, very nice. But there is tape down here on the spine, and it just shows some shelf wear. Bob O'Reilly, We Won't Get Fooled Again. Who's Next? That's $19.99. Also, Frank Zappa, Zappa in New York. 2 LP, near mint minus condition. Frank Zappa, $19.99. So The Who, we got Zappa. Also, the Rolling Stones, Metamorphosis, $19.99. The Rolling Stones, Metamorphosis. The Who, Zappa, The Stones. Also, The Cars, Shake It Up. Original inner sleeve. The Cars, super clean copy. $19.99 for The Cars. Shake It Up. I'm running out of space. Let me shift some of these down. Let me move that down there. The Who, Zappa, The Stones, The Cars. Dire Straits, Making Movies. No condition notes. Very nice copy. Original inner sleeve. DS for Dire Straits. That's $19.99. And the last one I'll do right now is Dwayne Allman and Anthology. Anthology. That would have been easier just calling that one Anthology. But that's Dwayne Allman and Anthology. $19.99. Okay, so the Beatles is at $16. Jeff bid $17. We had Fred Carnell, one of the Swingin' Teens. Let me sneak in here and pull that one out. Tanner, that was $6.99. The Fred Carnell. Now the $19.99 stuff. Christopher Smith gets the Zappa. Great deals on these. $19.99. That's sold to Christopher Smith. Christopher Smith got Zappa. Christopher Morris got the Rolling Stones. Michael Nath was second. Brian Arrigo gets the Frank. Is that somebody? Frank Zappa, okay. That was third to him, or second to him, Brian Arrigo. And Dwayne Allman, no condition notes. No, very nice copy. Gatefold, no condition notes, Dwayne Allman. And this is where he was also a prolific studio musician. A lot of stuff he played on. Yes, this is a very clean copy, $19.99. So Dwayne Allman, $19.99. John Miller, if you don't want it, it looks like Sherry Darnell does. So that's either going to be sold to Sherry Darnell or John Miller if he says so. So that is sold to John Miller. Dire Straits is still available. Making Movies. Original inner sleeve. Dire Straits, $19.99. Also, The Cars Shake It Up, and Matt Shirley asked where The Who was pressed. Let's take a look at it. The Who, who's next? We have, let's see here. Not one. We have a, let me just see what we have here. This is MG7-12888-W1-2. There's a little bit of a, it's the slash, the backslash, and then there's a 3. Backslash, and then there's a 3. The Who, who's next? Such a great album. Bob O'Reilly, Bargain, Love Ain't For Keeping, My Life, This Song Is Over. Also, Getting in Tune, Going Mobile, Behind Blue Eyes, and Won't Get Fooled Again, $19.99. So I need to get updated because we got kind of distracted there. Doug Tabor, let me know if you want backing on this Beatles interview disc. Jeff McMaster's at $17. Jeff McMaster's at $17, and that's a final call. All right, let me show a few more $6.99 records. I'll do some more $19.99 in a second. These are $6.99. We have the very best of the Lovin' Spoonful, very clean copy. Do You Believe in Magic? $6.99. Carole King, Rhymes and Reasons, $6.99 for Carole King. Also, Nicks and the Sidekicks, $6.99. Nicks and the Sidekicks, that's $6.99. Steve Martin is The Lonely Guy. That's the soundtrack from the Lonely Guy soundtrack. America's on here. $6.99 for Steve Martin, Lonely Guy soundtrack. $6.99. Also, Lily Tomlin and John Travolta in Moment by Moment soundtrack. Music by 10cc, Dan Hill, Stephen Bishop, and Yvonne Elliman. That's $6.99. And the Kinks, Word of Mouth, $6.99 for the Kinks. Also, Hey Jude and Hey Bing. That's Bing Crosby, $6.99. Nick Bargeron on SM. SM was for Steve Martin, Lonely Guy. That's sold to Nick Bargeron and Burton Cummings, $6.99. $6.99. Steve Akuri, I was about to sell the Beatles. Steve, your bid has come in at the right time because I was pausing. That happens a lot. I'm pausing to reach for an auction and a bid comes in, but it was still open. Steve Akuri is at $20 on the Beatles. Jeff McMaster, you're out. Michelle Miller wants the Bing Crosby. That's sold to Michelle Miller. Christopher Morris on the Burton Cummings, and Corey Gaston was second. Of course, that is Burton Cummings, the lead singer for the Guess Who. Why am I doubting myself? It is the Guess Who, right? All right, let's do 5 more 1999 records. First is a classic. This is Blind Faith, 1999. Eric Clapton, Steve Winwood, Ginger Baker, and Rick Gretsch. It's on the 1841 Yellow Atco label from Presswell. Blind Faith, that is a must-have. Traffic is sealed. It's never been opened, and there's no punch holes and no saw marks. Shootout at the Fantasy Factory. It does have clip corners, but it was made that way. That's not a cutout. It was made that way. Traffic, $19.99. That's a sealed copy. For that, you can open it up and have a near mint copy. Jerry Garcia, just $19.99. I can't believe it. This originally didn't sell. For $26.99, and I thought that would be a great deal. But for $19.99, surely we can find the rightful owner. Jerry Garcia, $19.99. Neil Young. Now, we had one earlier in a discount bin. This one is exceptionally nice with a hop sticker. Neil Young, American Stars and Bars. $19.99 for Neil Young. And a very clean, a very nice Bob Dylan Saved. Original inner sleeve, near mint minus. Beautiful. Looks like it's brand new. $19.99 for Bob Dylan Saved. Jeff McMaster's back in on the Beatles at $22. So Steve Akuri, you're outbid. Jeff has that for $22. Let me know if you want back in, or if you're done bidding, say out. That was for Bing Crosby, not Burton Cummings. Okay, so we may have pulled. Christopher Morris put BC, but he said that wasn't for Burton Cummings. That was for Bing Crosby. So Corey Gaston gets the Burton Cummings and not Christopher Morris. Tanner's fixing that right now. Okay, first, John Miller gets Blind Faith, and this is $19.99, Tanner. $19.99 for Blind Faith. John Miller. Jane Fink was second. Nick Bargeron third. Fred Carnell gets Traffic. That's sold to Fred Carnell. Traffic. Steve's out on the Beatles. Thank you for letting me know. And these 3 are still available. Jerry Garcia, Neil Young, and Bob Dylan. Those are very nice copies, all for $19.99 if anybody's interested. Billy Underwood says he'll take Jerry. I think that was for Jerry Garcia. Sell this to Billy Underwood. Those are all $19.99. All right, let's try to finish up this $6.99 bin. $6.99 bin, we have no base hit, Dave McKenna and Scott Hamilton. $6.99 for no base hit. Also, Gene Autry's Country Music Hall of Fame. Gene Autry, $6.99. Montreux Jazz Summit, Bob James, George Duke, Billy Cobham, Dexter Gordon. 2 LPs, Jets is on here, Ferguson, Woody Shaw, $6.99. Cecil and Blake is $6.99. That's on the Stash label. And J.O. Felony, What You Gonna Do, from 1988, $6.99 for J.O. Felony. Let's go ahead and sell this Beatles record to Jeff McMaster for $22. I've got one more, and then I've got some other Beatles stuff that I found in the bins I'm going to start auctioning while we're continuing here. We still got a lot of active viewers and bidders on at 11:20 tonight. Wednesdays have turned out to be pretty good shows. I used to not really do big shows on Wednesday, but Wednesdays have turned out, they keep getting better and better for viewership, and for some reason, I don't know if a lot of people have Thursdays off or something's going on for the next night, but a lot of people stay on really late on Wednesdays for some reason. So this is another Beatles. This is the last interview disc I have. This is the Beatles interviews from Dallas, Seattle, Toronto, and Los Angeles. Really cool cover. It's called Things We Said Today. Things We Said Today. And that is another official release on the Psychedelic label. That is an official release. Just a $10 start. Just a $10 start. It's got pictures there. There's them mobbing the car. It's got some very unique, I've never seen these before. There's John with Reed, Ringo with the Pigman family. There's some pictures on here once again. I've never seen those pictures. After the Dallas show, Brian and John clown around. They're wearing cowboy hats. Some of those I don't think I've seen before. When you think you've seen it all. I was showing Tanner some of the footage of Beatlemania from around 63 and 64. That was a real thing. Man, I mean, they came to Australia in 64 in Melbourne, and there was literally the whole city was shut down. Parades, chaos in the streets, girls passing out, police being overrun. They had to it's unbelievable to watch that footage, the way what was going on whenever they came into a town. Jeff McMaster on MS for the Montreux Summit, and Jeff McMaster on the Cecil and Blake. These are all $6.99. $6.99. The Beatles is at $10 with Steve. Herbie Mann, Memphis Underground. VG Condition, $6.99. Herbie Mann, Memphis Underground. That has a hype sticker on it. Stanley Clarke, Journey to Love. VG Plus Condition, but that is Stanley Clarke. Journey to Love. VG Plus, $6.99. Also, the Beau Brummel 66. VG Plus, $6.99. The Beau Brummels, and this is in mono from 1966. It's in shrink wrap. VG Plus, $6.99. Jetstream wants HM for Herbie Mann. And Jeff McMaster gets the Stanley Clarke. Those are both sold. Also, Freddie Hubbard, Bundle of Joy. EX Condition, $6.99 for Freddie Hubbard, Bundle of Joy. Carly Simon is $6.99. That's self-titled Carly. Carly Simon. And Stampeders, Sweet City Woman. The Stampeders, Sweet City Woman, $6.99 on that. Doug Tabor's the new bidder on the Beatles at $11. Also, the Falcon and the Snowman soundtrack. Falcon and the Snowman soundtrack, and that's music by Pat Metheny. VG Plus Condition, $6.99. Weather Report, Heavy Weather, just $6.99 on Weather Report. That will definitely get grabbed. And Suzanne Ciani, The Velocity of Love, $6.99. Doug Tabor's at $11 on the Beatles. Steve Curry, You're Out. David Hoy wants FH, and FH was for Freddie Hubbard. That's so to David Hoy for $6.99. This is not the new Dream Syndicate album live. This is not the new Dream Syndicate album live. That is $6.99. Steve's back in on the Beatles at $12. Michelle Miller wants the Stampeders, Sweet City Woman. What a classic song. That's so to Michelle Miller. There's another Crazy World of Arthur Brown. This one's in VG Condition, $6.99. I Give You Fire, $6.99. $6.99. And The Rascals C, $6.99. The Rascals C. That's another OG pressing. CTH pressing. Atlantic from The Rascals. Let's see here. Michelle got the Stampeders. Thomas Hujar got DS for the Dream Syndicate. Jeff McMaster on Suzanne Ciani. Doug Tabor wants Arthur Brown, and the Beau Brummels, a 60 psych, is a great buy at $6.99 from Derek Clark. Derek Clark can always give you some great recommendations. For some reason, we don't have buyers for Beau Brummels albums. I was talking to John and Paul about this. Derek is absolutely right. These Beau Brummels albums are classics, and I have to mark them down, and probably for a VG Plus mono and shrink wrap, not a bad price. Now it's just $6.99. It was originally $19.99, but we show a lot of Beau Brummels albums, and they don't get purchased. I don't think a lot of people know the Beau Brummels. You might want to check into the Beau Brummels. Doug Tabor got Arthur Brown. Doug Tabor's out on the Beatles. Fred Carnell, you were second on the Dream Syndicate album. Jeff McMaster is going to get the Beau Brummels from $6.99. And Sad Cafe is sealed $6.99 for Sad Cafe. Jane did buy 2 the other night. I know, I was going to actually say something, but it was a busy part of the show, but I do remember that. And I actually told them, I was like, hey, somebody actually hopped on the other night and bought a couple. But I was just having that conversation with them because I was like, man, there's a couple artists that we don't sell, and it has really nothing to do with the price because they'll be in the discount bin. They'll get down to where they're just $6.99. And I'm like, these are $20, $30 albums on Discogs, and I really don't want to put them on there because we just don't have the time or the logistics, and you can pick them up here. So every once in a while, I'll stop the show. Plus, there's a lot of people who watch, like Derek, who gives great recommendations. When Paul can tune in, he also does the same. Let's go ahead and sell this Beatles. This is the Beatles, Things We Said Today, and this is sold to Steve Curry. Is Steve a first-time buyer, Tanner? Steve, are you a first-time buyer, Steve Curry? I don't recall ever saying your name again. That may be your first purchase with us, and if so, thank you and welcome. We did have a Facebook ad running all day today, advertising Beatles Night, and this is one of the last ones I've got from that ad, and then I'm about to start putting up some new stuff. So if there's anybody new watching, that ad is still running. That might be why we have people late tuning in. We have a big ad running right now on Facebook, and there's probably people hopping on watching for the first time. So if you are watching for the first time, thank you and welcome. It's very easy to buy from us. Steve has hopped in, and he's bid on a couple auctions. He finally won this one. First time purchase, $7 in limited shipping. Steve, we do this about every night, and we've recently bought an incredible collection in Pittsburgh. We've brought it back here to Tennessee, and we've been selling it for the last couple months. We have probably nearly, I was trying to count them last night, we've got over 1,000 Beatles albums, which is a lot. That's like 30 of these crates maybe. There's a lot. I mean, just imagine just crate after crate. We auction them when we can here. But about once or twice a week, we'll have a night dedicated to the Beatles where there'll be some kind of Beatles auction all night if that's your forte. I'll take it if it's clean. Weather Report. Yes, I know. This was a major markdown for Weather Report. I would keep on to say Heather Report because we have Heather Feather. But this is $6.99 for Weather Report Heavy Weather. $6.99. Beatles Nut. Glad. Welcome you. I'm kind of borderline there. I've always been a Beatles fan, and probably since the purchase of this collection, it's kind of rejuvenated my love for the Beatles, and I've been reading and watching and listening and probably doing more research on these albums than I ever had before. The Falcon and the Snowman, nice cover here, Dan. I'm probably going to call it a VG Plus. It's got some corner wear. But I figured we'd have some new Beatles customers on tonight because of that ad. So if any of y'all are watching in the shadows, welcome. I'm a Beatles fan myself. Probably Led Zeppelin, the Beatles. That's my 1 and 2. It kind of swaps. And then every once in a while, I'll go on a Rush kick. Every once in a while, I'll go on a Metallica kick. Every once in a while, I'll hit a Jimi Hendrix kick. I've been listening to a lot of Hendrix this week because of that new Hollywood Bowl record that came out. I'll get on a Soundgarden kick, an Alice in Chains kick. What's some of my other kicks, Tanner? Elton John. Tanner probably knows because he has to listen to it every night when I'm here. Every once in a while, I'll go on to Elton John. I'll be listening to Elton John for like a week straight, just over and over and over. No, that was Dale Sanders. Dale Sanders got the Weather Report. Dan McKenzie is going to take the Falcon. Pink Floyd, yeah, that's another one. Oh, yeah. I get down the Pink Floyd rabbit hole. That's like a 2-week binge. 2-week binge, and it takes a while to get off Pink Floyd. It's just like constant. Let's see here. Dan got the Falcon. Thomas was second. Let's show one more time what's in the $6.99 bin. I've got a couple more Beatles records over here. This is stuff that was not advertised. It was some stuff I found in our bins in the back. And I've actually got a bootleg. I do have a bootleg. I have a Yesterday and Today, and I have a copy of Help. And let me bring those up right now. So let's do this bootleg first. This is the Beatles, Top of the Pops, Highway Hi-Fi 111. And this is, it's circled here on the back. This is the Beatles, Top of the Pops. There it is, BBC 64. Hey Jude, the Hog Film 68. Wow, that's actually on YouTube. That's where they did that TV appearance, I think in France maybe. The Hog Film or the Hog Film, however you say that. So vintage bootleg here from the Beatles, Top of the Pops, Hi-Fi 111, $25 start. The Beatles got a shot there of Ringo. Looks like that's the Shea Stadium concert. I don't know if that's actually on here. Top of the Pops, Murray the K Fan Club, all kinds of different stuff. But it's definitely a vintage Beatles boot, $25 start on that. So that's our next auction. All right, let me show what's left in here for $6.99. First, we have the Beach Boys' Love You, no condition notes. If I say no condition notes, then it's EX Plus near mint minus. $6.99 for the Beach Boys. Also, Rita Coolidge, Anytime, Anywhere, $6.99 for Rita. Buddy Holly, that's a hits compilation. That is 16 tracks, $6.99, Buddy Holly. Keb Kekletrick, that is $6.99. Doug Tabor's at $25 on the Beatles, going once, going twice. Nick Bargeron wants Love You by the Beach Boys. That's $6.99. Joe South, Games People Play. The cover looks like a board game. Joe South is $6.99. Also, Zubin Mehta and Star Wars, or Zubin Mehta conducts suites from Star Wars. That's actually a really cool listen. $6.99, especially if you like score music. Also, this too, the Walter Carlos Well-Tempered Synthesizer. That is $6.99. Steve Winwood, that's a full album, still available. $6.99. Steve Winwood, self-titled. That's kind of surprising. Also, Don, Tony Orlando, $6.99. And we got some, usually if Elvis ends up in the discount bin, he's gone. We still got Sings for Children and Grown-Ups too. Elvis is Near Mint Gatefold, just $6.99. And also his Songs of Inspiration, $6.99. Also, another Beach Boys album, Beach Boys 69. Beach Boys 69 is $6.99. Buddy Morrow, Night Train Goes to Hollywood, $6.99. 10-Wheel Drive, The Best of the Lovin' Spoonful, Carole King, Nix and the Sidekicks, Lily Tomlin and John Travolta, Moment by Moment. The Kinks, Word of Mouth, No Bass Hit, Dave McKenna, Scott Hamilton, Jake Hanna, Gene Autry, J.O. Felony, Carly Simon, and the Rascals. Tracks on Winwood. Let me get that for you. Steve Winwood, that has the following tracks. 1, Roll With It, Holding On, The Morning Side, Put On Your Dancing Shoes, Don't Know What the Night Can Do, Hearts on Fire, One More Morning, and Shining Song. That's $6.99. Doug Tabor has the Beatles for $25. That is a final call. On the Top of the Pops, the Beatles, Hi-Fi 111. Final call on that. Okay, well, I have went through a lot of records tonight, for sure. I'm going to try to do some condensing and see exactly what's left and maybe some highlights I can hit, especially for some of the $9.99 and $4.99 stuff that's left, because there is some great $9.99 and $14.99, that is. Some great $14.99 stuff. So let me do some condensing here. And there's an empty crate for Tanner. I was about to say or for Seth, but he's already bailed on us. Let's go ahead and sell this to Doug Tabor for $25. While I'm doing some condensing, I'll give y'all some more. I'll give y'all another Beatles to contemplate. This is really nice here. This is a mono copy of Yesterday and Today. No, it's not a butcher. Trust me. I'll get a copy of this. I'll get a copy of this with a slick over it. See how it's a slick? It's a paste over. And I'll stare at it and I'll look. And of course, right here is how you can tell if it's a butcher. You'll be able to see Ringo's V-neck. Of course, that is not a butcher cover. But it is a really nice Jacksonville press. It's a 4 on the back. It also has a colored inner sleeve. That's also a really good sign. And the vinyl is exceptionally nice, and that's the Beatles yesterday and today. There was a label stuck to the label. I don't know if we peeled that off or if it was like that when we got it, but that's what's left of it. Jacksonville Press mono. It's a solid EX Plus. It's a solid EX Plus. $35 start. It's a mono copy of yesterday and today. Very nice jacket though. And these have just become, I've just noticed, very desirable just because of the butcher, the desirability for the butcher, even though this is not a butcher cover, obviously. It wouldn't be $35. It would be like $1,500 or $1,200 or $850, depending on the condition or if it's been peeled or etc. But very, very good track listing, of course. Yesterday, Dr. Robert, I'm Only Sleeping, and Your Bird Can Sing, We Can Work It Out, Day Tripper, Nowhere Man, What Goes On, Drive My Car, If I Needed Someone, and Act Naturally. That's a mono copy, an original mono copy, $35 start. Christopher Morris is in. Regina says she'll take both Elvis. You got it. These were $6.99. There's one Elvis. There's the other Elvis. Those are both sold to Regina. Regina Tabor. All right, so I've condensed one crate. Let me see what I've got over here. Move that. So that was left over. I might can pull some more $19.99 stuff too. Some new ones that hadn't been shown. There's this $6.99 crate. So we've been through we've been through five $6.99 crates, and everything that's left is in two. We've been through five $6.99 crates, and everything that's left is now nicely in two crates. That's good. Final call on the Beatles for $35. I'm going to take these over here. Just some $6.99 stuff that's left. I'm going to put some in this crate, and I'm going to put some in, actually the rest of them fit in this crate. And Tanner, I have got you another empty crate. We're going to need them for this sale we're doing Friday and Saturday. By the way, if you're local, please come to the store. Friday and Saturday, $1 LPs. Stuff in the back that's never been shown before. We kind of keep a reserve back there. And we'll mix in some what we always call bones. There'll be some really good stuff in those bins for $1. Doug Tabor. There's two Tabors tonight, different spellings. I didn't even notice that. Okay, let me move this bin. We are on the tail end of the show. It's gotten really late all of a sudden. And Chad, which is me, is getting very hungry. But I'm going to do a recap, especially of some of the new vinyl highlights from tonight. And first, let me do this right here. So this was what's left of the $9.99 and the $14.99. But here's what we're going to do. Here's what's left of the $9.99 and the $14.99. We're just going to make everything $9.99. So what's left in this crate is $9.99. So some of these are another $5 off from what they normally were. The first one is what I promised I would do for Traffic. I'm discounting these another $5. I've got two available. Traffic, $9.99 on the road. Bob Dylan, this is Greatest Hits Volume 2, $9.99. And the other one, which was a major discount now, Aesop's Fable is now just $9.99 in due time, $9.99. And we had Todd Rundgren, Todd, EX Condition, $9.99. Todd Rundgren, Todd, that's $9.99. Okay, so new bid on the Beatles. We were at $35. I was actually just about to sell it. We got a new bid. Doug Tabor's at $36. Christopher Morris is at $40. GC got the Bob Dylan. That's sold to GC for $9.99. We have two Traffics, Tanner. Jane Fink and Debbie Blair got one. Fred Carnell second and William Warback third. If you missed out earlier, they were $14.99. That's what I always tell people. They're like, maybe Chad will discount these again. I was like, or you can get them right now, because if I probably do that, then you're going to miss out on them. In Due Times, Aesop Fable, Todd Rundgren, John Barleycorn Must Die. There's another Traffic, $9.99. Two Culture Clubs left, Color by Numbers. There's one, there's two. Both are very similar condition. Both have the hit song Karma Chameleon on it. Elvis Costello still available, Blood and Chocolate, just $9.99. The Nice with Keith Emerson, $9.99. Walt Disney's Addition and Subtraction, and the Jacksons Victory, $9.99. William Warback is first on this other Traffic. Fred Carnell was second. let's see here. Doug Tabor, let me know if you want backing on the Beatles. Christopher Morris has that for 40. William got that traffic. Fred Carnell was second. And Doug Tabor, you were fifth on the live traffic. Fred Carnell is going to get Todd Rundgren. That's $9.99 to Fred Carnell. So, Tanner, all those were $9.99. Can we please sell what's left in this crate? Can I convince somebody right now watching that they need a copy of The Jacksons' Victory, a Walt Disney's Walt Disney's Addition and Subtraction with Jiminy Cricket, The Nice, Elvis Costello, 2 copies of Culture Club. That's going to be tough if we can't even find one. And In Due Time's Aesop's Fable. Those are all $9.99, Tanner. Can you believe it? Tanner cannot believe it. All right, so final call on this Beatles album. And let me hit the highlights for tonight's new vinyl and new releases. Tonight's new vinyl and new releases are all right here. All right here. Let me see what we got. Doug Tabor is at 41 on the Beatles. Christopher Morris, you're outbid. The mono Jacksonville copy of Yesterday and Today, Doug Tabor's at $41. Let's also go ahead and pull one of these for Michelle Miller. That's the Disney. That's sold to Michelle Miller. Here is tonight's newest new vinyl arrivals. This is all new stuff for tonight. Last time I'm going to show these. The first thing we have back here is Christopher's at 45 on the Beatles. We have Pantera live at the Dynamo Open Air, $39.99 for Pantera live. The Velvet Underground Loaded, $31.99. Ray LaMontagne, Gossip in the Grain. Ray LaMontagne is $39.99. Primus Pork Soda, $39.99 for Primus. White Light, White Heat by the Velvet Underground, $36.99. Soundgarden, Super Unknown, live, or not live Soundgarden. That's Studio Soundgarden, 2 LP. Soundgarden, $46.99. Susie and the Banshees, that's live. That's a live unofficial from 1981, $44.99. Eminem, The Eminem Show, $39.99. And we still got 2 copies of Elton John's Tumbleweed Connection. There he is, Elton. $33.99 for Tumbleweed Connection. That's new and sealed, remastered. Eric Clapton, Slow Hand, $28.99. Cocaine, Wonderful Tonight. Lay Down Sally, The Core, and Other Great Songs, $28.99. The Cure, Happy the Man, $44.99 for The Cure. Dr. Dre, 2001, $39.99. Eminem, Relapse, $39.99 for Eminem. The Killers, Sam's Town, $36.99. The Killers, Direct Hits, $46.99. Erykah Badu, $44.99. Kiss, Unplugged, $44.99. And the new, comes out Friday, Shania Twain's Greatest Hits, $44.99. Shania Twain's Greatest Hits, $44.99. Doug Tabor, let me know if you want backing on the Beatles. If not, I'm going to go ahead and sell that to Christopher. So that's all of tonight's newest new vinyl. Shania, Kiss, Erykah, The Killers, Eminem, Dre, Cure, Clapton, Elton, more Eminem, Susie, Soundgarden, Velvet Underground, Primus, Ray LaMontagne, more Velvet Underground, and Pantera. Doug's out on the Beatles. This is sold to Christopher Morris for $45. And one of our last ones of the night is a 1965 Scranton press, an original U.S. pressing of the Beatles' Help. Gatefold, the Beatles' Help. This is an original Scranton press. Very clean vinyl for what it is. As y'all well know, anytime I have these clean U.S. Beatles albums, I'm like, these things are usually beat. This one's actually clean. Last auction of the night, Help, same as the other, $35 start, U.S. stereo copy, very clean vinyl, 65 Scranton press, $35 on that. Now here's what was left in for 1999. This is what was left for 1999. Bob Dylan, Saved, Neil Young, American Stars and Bars, The Who, Who's Next, The Cars, Shake It Up, and Dire Straits, Making Movies. Those were what was left for 1999. Those were also discounted for 1999. Let's see if I got any more in here that I can show. I'm trying to build a crate up that we can do. Here we go. I think these last 3 in the back right here. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, possibly 4. Let's do these 3. Here's 3 more 1999s that I have not shown tonight. And I know this one will sell. It's called AC/DC Back in Black. It is a 2003 pressing. 180 gram though. Near mint. Back in Black. AC/DC in shrink wrap. Doug Tabor was in first on Help. Nick Bargeron was second. So Doug Tabor, you was in first. Nick, if you want to bid again, let me know because you are out. Elton John, Don't Shoot Me, I'm Only the Piano Player. Really nice copy. It's a gatefold with the booklet. It's a gatefold with the booklet, $19.99. Don't Shoot Me, I'm Only the Piano Player. Lots of classic hits on that one. Elton John. And the last one is Otis Redding in person at the Whiskey A Go-Go. Otis Redding. This is VG Plus condition. This is $19.99. Yellow Atco label. VG Plus Otis Redding at the Whiskey A Go-Go. VG Plus $19.99. Doug Tabor's at 35 on the Beatles. Nick bid 35, and then Nick bid 36. Brian Arrigo wants the AC/DC. Tanner, that was $19.99 for Brian Arrigo. GC would like the Metallica Woodstock track listing and price. Is that still available? I thought we sold all those. Metallica? Metallica is sold. Or am I crazy? The price was $39.99. That's in the sold bins, but if you want on a waiting list, I can find it for you and read you the track listing. But yes, that was sold. Yes, all pre-orders were filled for Shania. I read those off. We had 9 pre-orders. You saw it earlier. You probably did, and it has sold. But if you want on a waiting list, let me know. I don't have, that's all the new vinyl I have left here. The only thing left in new vinyl is right here, which is the 9 copies of, I'll go ahead and hand those to Tanner right now. This is the 9 copies of Shania Twain that have been pre-sold. Tanner, those are now in your possession. I'll take that. Those are pre-sold. I have not got a list. They're on the Facebook group. Okay. I do not have Elton John, the 2 LP. No, I do not have that. I've had that before. And then Doug, let me know. Doug Tabor, let me know if you want to bid again on the Beatles. Nick has that for 36. Okay, so while we're finishing that last auction, I think that's pretty much, I guess I can set up this one more crate of new vinyl over here. But that is pretty much all I have to show y'all tonight as far as new stuff and discounted stuff. We're definitely going to be back tomorrow. Big auction tomorrow with, we're going to have random bootlegs and different stuff. And we're definitely going to have autographs. Doug Tabor's at $37 on the Beatles. Nick Bargeron, you're out. Doug's at $37. Here's some stuff from last night. I'm going to show these because I'm about to empty this crate and put all the box sets on the wall. Nick's back in on the Beatles at $38. We still got the Wasp box set. The 7 Savage Wasp is $289.99. Limited edition 8 LPs. Wasp is $289.99. The Savage 7. Got a couple stray puzzles here. We have Pink Floyd, Momentary Lapse of Reason, and Rush Moving Pictures. $24.99 for Momentary Lapse and Rush Moving Pictures. Those are 500-piece puzzles. If anybody wants the actual albums, I have the actual albums too, if you're interested in those. These are puzzles. Doug's out on the Beatles. We're going to sell that to Nick Bargeron for $38. The Beatles Help. That's sold to Nick Bargeron. Also, the new Winger box sets. Chapter 1, The Atlantic Years. Those are in this week. $139.99 for the 4 LP Winger box. $139.99. Herbie Hancock Headhunters. 2 LP, 45 RPM from Analog Productions. $69.99. Eddie Money self-titled from Analog Productions, $49.99. And the Beach Boys Pet Sounds in mono. Pet Sounds in mono, $33.99. All right, well, we've had a great sale, even though the feed messed up earlier tonight. And we had to, this is actually part 3, the 3rd time we had to try connecting, but we have got it fixed. And we've had a successful night. I'm glad we got to go through all the discount stuff because I worked all night getting all that ready, and I was hoping we could show it and sell it all, and we've moved most of it as I expected. So thanks everybody for tuning in. I'm about to go get some food. Tanner's all of a sudden, I think, convinced me we need to go to Waffle House. So may head there, and then I'm going to have to come right back here and get ready for tomorrow night's sale. I got to start looking up autographs. I mean, I know what we're selling. It's already been advertised and promoted. But I've got to kind of have to do some market research and figure out where to start some of these things. Some of them are very difficult to figure out where to price them. They're one-of-a-kinds. Or they don't come up for sale very often. You just can't get online and buy some of these. You might can get that autograph, but maybe not on that certain album. So, Any Dead tomorrow. We have lots of Dead left. Shakedown. I need to do a big flip video of all the Grateful Dead records and post it. What's left? You would be amazed. Also, whoever bought that Bill Kreutzmann autograph, Shakedown, I think it was you. That autograph on the back by Madeline, the keyboard player, that's actually authentic. That was authenticated too, and they left it off the website lookup registry. So Shakedown, you got an extra bonus free autograph on that album. I think it's the Kreutzmann autograph. If you want, whoever won that other autograph on the back is authentic too, by the Grateful Dead. What's his name? Starts with, I think it's Brett Madeline. But that was, let's see. Yes, that was off, and I completely see that kind of threw me off because I just assumed the Bill Kreutzmann autograph was good. So those are actually both authentic. So I kind of messed that one up, and I think you probably got a killer deal. I'd say you got a really good deal on that because I had a whole nother signature on the back that I was assuming it was authentic, but they didn't put it in the registry. So yeah, you probably got a great deal on that because I was just advertising as a Bill Kreutzmann autograph. So congratulations, no takebacks unless you feel guilty and you're gonna let me re-auction it. I'm just joking. Okay, so thanks everybody for watching. We'll be back tomorrow at 7 o'clock Central Time. Make sure I didn't miss any other comments here. Looking for Pretenders, the singles. We're always looking for that, Christopher. The last two we had came from this Pittsburgh collection. We auctioned them, and it was a heated battle. The Pretenders really need to put a record in print that's their greatest hit. So all the Zeppelin bootlegs are gone. There are no, I can promise you that, there's no Zeppelins left. Those are all long gone. No Zeppelins, unfortunately. So, okay. Thanks, everybody, for watching. We'll be back tomorrow. I think Tanner's fell asleep on me. Boy, I must have some kind of enchantment on my voice or something. Okay. Thanks, everybody. We'll see.